Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Advantage in Paradise. Um, like last week's episode, this week is a pre recorded episode because I am not here. I'm in Europe. So please enjoy this session that we've made exactly like how we make all of our sessions at the table. No editing, just the rolls. But most of us will be in the chat watching along with you. So feel free to make some comments. We'll comment back. Maybe we'll speculate. But I will definitely be back next week from Europe, from my trip to Europe, and we'll be back onto our regular live performances. So thank you for joining us tonight. As always, our sound effects um, are provided by Soundstripe, as well as Sirenscape, and sometimes Tabletop Audio, but mostly those top two. Shannon, I don't know if you've got any shout outs, but
Of course
take it
I
away.
do. Of course I do. All right. So, first person I would like to shout out is at Green Hag Tweets. They tagged me in something today, so I guess 2 weeks ago now, but today that I had tweeted about the yesterday, so yesterday 2 weeks ago, and it just made me smile. So thank you, Green Hag Tweets, for that. Discount Dungeons is my next friend that I would like to shout out. They did, again, 2 weeks ago on this Follow Friday, they did a really nice thread where they shouted out individual podcasts and streams, and they did a really, really nice one for Paradice, which it was just so sweet, and I saw it when it was my lunch break at school, and I really appreciate that. So thank you for your kind words, friends, and for the boost. We like you. We love you. And last but not least, I would like to shout out at Know Your Role. They have been some amazing, amazing friends of the show, and I've been talking to one of them from the show, and I've got some exciting news for that coming up, but I don't want to reveal it quite yet because it's going to be a surprise. Okay, yeah, and one more. Talon and Claw, we love you. We love you guys so much, and I cannot believe that we have our first official stream partnership. If you enter the code Paradice, Paradice, into your order, you get 10% off your entire order, which is really cool. So thank you, Paradice, Paradice. Oh my God, I can't talk today. Yeah, thanks. I got it.
Thanks, us.
Yeah, thanks, us. Thank you, Talon and Claw, for being our first official partner. That's really, really cool. Never in a million years thought that we would be partnered with somebody. So that's really cool.
This episode brought to you by Paradice, also known as us. Also, Shannon, I am a little confused. Do we like people or love them? I lost track of that.
We love them.
Who do we like and who do we love?
Yeah.
We love everybody.
Give us the
Can we get a
inside.
list of your social media shout-outs, like color-coded?
If you would look on your freaking Google Drive, it already
you guys have a
is.
drive with them,
Yeah,
but-
I do. I'm looking at it right now. Yes, it's color coded.
Color-coded.
It's
between
not
both.
color
think I am?
coded. It's
Yes, it
Google
is.
coded.
Wait, does
No,
pink
it
mean? Oh my
No.
god! I was
Anyway.
green on there. Okay,
I don't think I have love in my heart.
that's puke colored.
see, everyone. This is what happens when we're not live.
I'm pretty sure we do this regardless.
But yes, thank you, Shannon, our community manager essentially, and our emotional support animal. No, it's not you, Timber.
Yeah.
I'm offended.
Anyway, those are our social media shout outs. Those are our announcements. Yeah, so let's jump right into it, everyone. All right. Last we left off, the heroes of Maginset, finding respite in the hamlet of Brackland Glen, settled down for a much needed meal and drink. After many rounds of ale and ski and good food, some things came out. Cal revealed to the party why he left his home Stormrain in Endurus due to a failed bout during the renowned contest in Endurus, where after a 7-hour fight with his opponent, he ultimately lost, much to his shame, in his own words. Uh, Scarlet was recognizably not among the group as they feasted and drank, celebrating warm beds and the end of a job. Eventually, the group wanted to get her down so that she could celebrate as well. So they brought a half chicken out to her, uh, as well as an ale of her own. She was doing her typical panicked packing and unpacking in her room, looking out to the window to see, should I run tonight? Should I stay? Or should I go? And eventually she heard a knock on the door where Timber brought up the half chicken and the ale. At first, she's very appreciative, but perhaps it was the ski or the ale or Timber's half chicken he ate. But he was bold in speaking to Scarlet about their shared journey and their shared quest to save their loved ones. Scarlet, frustrated and no longer wanting to waste time on these other jobs, wanted to go and find this organization they both know as the Highland Syndicate. Timber felt that was not the wisest choice, and that finding support through General Kinsley was their best bet to be able to rescue Scarlet's brother and Timber's wife. Scarlet was not happy with this, and an argument ensued that resulted in Timber slamming the door and leaving. Shortly after, not to let him have the last word, Scarlet descended down to join them for a drink. And though a few smiles and laughs crept through her brooding exterior, ultimately it led to a similar argument amongst the table as Timber began talking loudly about what the group should do next. As Kieran attempted to get the party to raise themselves and retire to a room to discuss this, you were joined by a soldier that had been watching you the whole night, Lieutenant Horace. An outburst happened as he may have given you some backhanded compliments and may have given you qualifying compliments. Scarlet walked away from the table, did not want to hear what the lieutenant had to say, and he hesitated for a moment and almost left, but ultimately he wanted to come over to tell you that the town could use a little bit of help before you moved on to join General Kinsley in Driftmarch. He told you to find him the next day, and that he could tell that you needed some rest after the drinks you had this night. It was at this point that you all retired upstairs, save Wiswick, who stayed below, finishing off his last drink slowly and writing in his tome. Ultimately, he fell asleep down there, not without Paravel wrapping him up in a quilt. After washing up, you all met in your room and talked briefly about how one of you should go speak with Scarlet. It was at that point that Kieran, the most sober of the group, decided it was a good idea. He knocked on Scarlet's door and tried to reach through her anger, find her reasonable side, referencing the way that Scarlet always grows angry when Wiswick rushes off, or when Kieran himself has rushed off in the past. His calming demeanor and somewhat awkwardness in his delivery was charming to her, and it calmed her down. He left with a blessing, and everyone was able to slowly find their way to bed. Before Scarlet found her sleep, she received another visitor as Valen knocked on the door. It was unusual. Most of you have not had a private conversation with Valen. He looked strange without his leather armor, and hood and bow and weaponry. Old, wrinkled skin, ancient looking. slightly glowing amber eyes, and of course the barked antlers. He shared that at some point, Kinsley had helped him escape his past, and that it was not much different than what Kinsley could potentially do for Scarlet. He essentially was imploring her to stay and not rush off, particularly to stay here for at least a day, so that he could tend to the Asimur that you had found in the dungeon of the Barrow. Scarlet agreed and thanked him for his words. He called you all good people, despite some of your rough edges. As he left, Scarlet believed this would be the end of her visits for the night, as she found her rest, and everyone else found their rest as well. It wasn't until sometime in the middle of the night when a cold breeze brushed Scarlet awake as she saw all around her the darkened room and the whipping curtains of the entirely open window. Quickly, she noticed a figure standing above her, a silhouette of a young man. All she could really see was the light cascading through the light brown hair on his crown. Thinking she knew who it was, she sat up and reached out to pull down a mask that was over his face, a scarf over his, at the bridge of his nose. Before she could get close enough to remove it, but quite close, he quickly dashed away and leapt from the window. All she saw was the quick flash of his blue eyes. She rushed to the window and looked out to the empty square and saw nothing. She attempted to sit back to lay down and find rest again, but the thoughts pierced her mind of who this man was. No words were exchanged. And that's where we left off the last session. And where we'll begin now, unless anyone has anything they wanted to do in that night, is we'll go through the long rest and start in the morning. So, morning comes to each of you one at a time. Kieran, you of course, as per usual, have awoken earliest. Quite early. But the rest of you, one by one, come to wakefulness a little later than usual. Perhaps the alcohol needed its time to be processed. You each.
Hey, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
You may need to turn off the camera for the your other thing.
Echo.
There's an echo.
Well, I don't think the test. Test.
Yeah, you're better.
Okay.
Oh, no, you're not. Echo when I talk.
Wait, hold on. Let me mute it. Talk.
Echo when I talk. All right, so it's not that.
It's not that.
It's not that.
Clayton.
Huh?
Mute.
Hello?
Mute yourself.
Muting myself? Okay.
Talk. Testing. Testing. Talk. Talk. Testing. It's Clayton.
Testing.
Wait.
Testing.
Luckily, we can edit this out.
I fixed it.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. Wait.
Tech. Chest. Check. Huala. Batin. Yeah, you're good.
Yep.
All
we're
right, folks. So you awake from your long rest, each of you. Kieran first, if there's anything you want to do before the others awake. You all went to sleep roughly around 1 a.m., I would say. And you're waking up, I'd say you're waking up pretty late, actually, because of the drinking. You're waking up around 11 a.m., except for Kieran, who wakes up at his usual 4 hours later. I'll say it's a 4.5 hours later because of that half drink. It's just sort of made it hard for you to get to sleep. But Scarlet, you would wake up about an hour before everyone else because you really didn't have that much to drink either.
They let me sleep in, like, on the table.
Oh, no. They wouldn't let you sleep in on the table like that. No,
marshmallow.
Yeah, I guess actually, Wiswick, you would get woken up pretty early, probably earlier even than Scarlet, as they start to clean up around you. You you notice Shane starts coming around and taking stools off of tables. Brian is starting to get the hearth going, as Toira is cleaning any leftover mess from the night prior. Paravel's getting, you can smell. You're actually awoken by a combination of the like dragging of the stools on the wood, the sparking of the flint and tinder for the fire, and ultimately the delicious smell of bacon and eggs coming from the kitchen where Paravel is preparing the morning. You awake out of your books, pounding headache. Probably still a bit groggy. You probably would want to still go upstairs to go back to sleep, but you have a moment if you want to do anything.
Yeah, I think I just like half asleep, get up from the table, and like with the book on my head, I just go over to the bar and like lay down, and I keep the book over my face as I lay my face down on the bar, so I'm like trying to like deal with like it being bright in here, and like wave my hand in the air like trying to get some food, but like not making any like sound or anything, just like waiting for somebody to notice me.
And you're largely ignored for the most part, except occasionally Brian will stop and kind of stare at you and just, well, I have to get you some bacon. As you just moan into your tome. Shortly after, you would get some food. But Huron and Scarlet, what would you like to do in the morning, if anything,
Huron's-
before everyone reconvenes?
After, coming out of his trance, Kieran's going to, a trance that was relatively quiet for him. No crazy things happened, but he is going to prepare a small prayer circle, and he takes his reliquary, this old wooden cylinder, and uttering some Elvish, the runes light up and it parts in two, and in the middle there's just this floating moon rock is what it is. And then he begins a prayer to Ilyuvania, seeking her guidance, and specifically he asks, "Oh, dearest Crescent Heart, my path has always been true to you, and I find myself in the most unlikely of company. I pray to you now in hopes for a reply that I'm still on the right path. We have succeeded in defeating one of the pallid masks, but it seems like there may be more, and I look for your guidance now." And then he sits and waits for a while to see if there's a response.
Mm-hmm. So as you set your usual ritual for the prayer down, the fragment of of the crescent moon, always a strange relic that you have, as it kind of, the reliquary parts and it doesn't fall. It seems to float in its own gravity, almost unaffected. You pray, you ask Ilyuvania for guidance, and you feel a quick gnawing sensation on the ring, on the finger that the cursed ring is on. And it almost disturbs your meditations over what you hold firm through as it continues to burn. A bit of sweat comes down your brow, but then suddenly there's a cooling sensation where the burn was, and you feel a breeze move through your braids as you feel the emanating abjuration from the ring, as it almost feels like toxin is being drawn from the wound, and it falls off your finger.
Huron holds it up to the light to inspect it. Anything? Any new?
As you had seen when you first found it, it was a fairly simple, inornate ring that just had a bit of like Celtic knot inscribed into it.
Right.
You notice that it's been almost like burned through, like a in the center of the ring. If you're looking at it from the side, there's a line that looks like it's almost like someone had engraved across the entire Celtic symbols, muting them. And you notice it for a moment almost glints with some soft light before it cools to a simple ring.
Huron shrugs in the pocket and just returns to a simple, more of a meditation than a prayer until the rest of his companions awaken.
Easy enough. You you rest, or you sit and wait with your meditations, with just the moonlight lighting you up from the window, before slowly you start to hear the bustle of people outside beginning their work for the day. You hear the movement of chairs and whatnot below as the day is beginning. Scarlet, you awake at this time.
There's two things I want to do. The first, I want to go over to the window and I want to check to see if he left me anything and if I can see how he got up here.
Okay, go ahead. You go to the window and you open it back up. You give me a perception check.
23.
23, okay. You don't really notice too much. There's almost shockingly, there's no sign. There's no rope cut down below. There's no rope attached by anything up here. You don't notice any disturbances in the wall below or anything dug into it. There's no evidence of his climb.
Okay. And he didn't leave a note or anything for me.
You look around the room and you see no messages of any sort. The only evidence of him having been there is that the window was still open when you woke in the morning.
Okay. Second thing I want to do is I want to go, I'd like to go outside, right under my window, and if there's any alleys or anything nearby, I want to see, it's kind of like a half-hearted attempt because I know he probably didn't stick around, but just looking for him.
Yeah, you go outside. I mean, when you pass through the main room, you notice everyone getting ready. You see Wiswick with his head in a tome on the at the bar. Go outside, and there's people moving about, getting things ready for the day, setting up stalls in the market. You go around to the side where your window is, that just sort of looks somewhat out to part of the square, but is slightly in the alleyway, but not too deep in the alleyway. You see, give me a investigation check.
15.
All you really see when you get out there is a few scuff marks in the dirt that could have been him moving about underneath there, or it could have easily been a drunk. There's no clear, discernible tracks in the mostly cobblestone, so it's really just disrupted refuse that's all around.
Okay. I'll just kind of lean against the side of the building for a second, not really knowing what I want to do, what I want to say, or just still kind of shocked that he's alive. And then I'll go back inside and I'll go sit down next to Wiswick at the bar.
Okay, so you You lean against the walls of the Guavarine Tooth, and occasionally some people walk by, getting ready for the day. Some dragging farm animals, some carts. Takes you a moment before you realize you snap out of it, realize you're out amongst folk, and you retire into the tavern and you sit beside Wiswick.
Oh, Scarlet, you don't look good either. Do you want some bacon?
Sure. How are you
I
feeling?
share my breakfast.
Thank you.
There's some half-eaten bacon on a plate that he's been clearly nibbling on over the last hour.
How are you feeling?
I've been better.
Do you remember last night at all?
Bits and pieces.
What do you remember?
There were a lot of halflings. Like, way too many. There was that guard. I don't remember what I said to him, but he seemed kind of like a jerk. And, Cal was talking about his past, and you got into an
Oh, he what?
argument.
Cal was talking about his past.
Just a little bit.
What did he say?
He was talking about, why he... Well, didn't he speak to you about it before? About, his family and why he
No.
went away from home?
No.
Well, I guess it'd probably be better for him to tell you.
Suppose that's fair. But I do remember the argument. Still not quite over it yet, but temper has been tempered for now.
Well, that's good. Have we come to, like, a conclusion? Like, do we have a plan?
I don't think one was able to be solidified last night. So we should probably talk about that now that we're all a little bit more even keel.
Okay, I'm gonna finish this breakfast and I've got some spells to prepare, but then I'd be happy to.
Take your time. I don't believe we're in any hurry.
And as the morning crowd begins to come in, you see a few very old villagers come in, immediately order ale and other breakfast foods. You've mostly got the tavern to yourself. As Cal, Timber, you awake. Huron, if you'd like to come down. Everyone is awake at this point.
Timber would be trying to make some potions in the morning.
Okay. Cal, you wake to
How
splitting
what
headache.
do you want to do? Roll con or
Yeah, actually give me a con roll, yeah.
saving or normal?
Saving. Doesn't matter, you got low.
Just blew my holy natural 20.
Oh, you're not gonna get that for the rest of the game.
Oh boy.
So you wake up and you've got that splitting headache, concrete in your head. You slam the curtains shut and you hold back a dry heave before struggling to start your calisthenics.
With a nat 20, what have you gotten any lower than that?
Hey, you didn't throw up in the morning, and you're able to actually do your calisthenics. Timber, you want to try making some potions, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna use, yeah, I'm gonna make, some wild sage root, which is, or just a normal, it's a DC 12. It's just a normal healing potion. I think I just make it. I'm looking up the. Yeah, I make it. I got a 15.
Which you're doing the
Wild sage root.
which one you doing?
Which is the last
Oh
one.
yeah, down at the
so
bottom.
The DC of 13, not 12.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's 13. What'd you get?
I got a 15.
Okay. So you're successfully able to make that minor healing potion.
Yes. I didn't actually look up I apologize for not being prepared for this. The basilisk poison.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah.
there's basilisk breath in here, which I didn't know if you considered that the venom is which, or the bile of which the breath comes
Yes, I would consider that.
from. Okay, all right.
So what you would, it's not the
I'm not going to use
not
it
the
now.
bile.
I'm not using
Okay.
it now.
yeah. So just for future reference, it's not the basilisk bile that is
Okay.
the ingredient for that. The basilisk bile is the ingredient for a potion that heals petrification.
Okay.
It's the crushed up basilisk eyes that make up that potion.
Okay. So you're considering the eyes, what we were referencing, the breath. Is that what you're referencing?
Yes, yes. So where it says
All right, thank
basilisk breath, it's just basilisk
Basilisk
eyes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm actually not going to use that right now, but I am going to make I still have another poison potion, but I'm going to use my last. Actually, you know what?
You save it?
I'm gonna save it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna make the healing potion. I apologize for
Okay.
that.
How many vials do you have left, by the way? Just
I have 3. I should have 3.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Excellent. So you set up your Gwyn Bunsen burner and you need to mix the
I forgot I
potion.
had that in too, but yeah.
So it's a 16 then.
Yeah, it was 16.
Okay. So you set up your alchemist set, boil away your ingredients, and you're able to successfully make that potion.
Thank you.
Would the two of you like to, or the three of you, like to join Scarlet and Wiswick downstairs?
Indeed.
Okay. So, Wiswick and
as a wolf.
Scarlet, you prepare your spells. You're nibbling on some bacon as your compatriots come down and meet you below.
I want to be clear that I know this is standard with preparing my spells, but I do cast my non-detection ritual, and everybody in the bar probably sees that my skin like does that shimmery glow as I cast the spell.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
They,
you know, that's very bright.
You see Paravel comes out from the back with a little bit more bacon and some scrambled eggs, and she drops a big pitcher of water down on the bar. Just, I think you're all gonna need this. And yeah, and as soon as you're finished with your meal, we can settle your bill from last night.
All right, yeah. What do I owe you?
Well, let me calculate it out, and why don't you enjoy your breakfast and talk a little as I figure it out.
Yeah. Scarlet. Scarlet, are you okay? No, it's not what I'm asking. How are you?
Been better.
A lot of that going around this morning. Well, we got your back. Timber said some stuff, and we still got your back. Remember that.
I'd rather not talk about it if it's all right with you.
Yeah, no,
I appreciate the sentiment.
yeah, yep.
Kieran's got
You like-
himself a small plate of eggs and is just eating
Cal,
them while
like,
he watches this exchange.
Lightly like you go like a friendly punch on the shoulder, but not like a punch, just like a yeah, we got it. He's having trouble like looking up, you know. He's just like yeah.
Yeah. Cal and Wiswick are the most afflicted by the hangover.
Kieran pours another glass of water and puts it in front of Cal.
You sir, you good person.
I believe it'd be best if you drink at a slow pace, though.
Yeah, no, we'll be right as houses in a moment. No, safe as rain. No, Okay, it's fine.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. The best cure for a hangover is to eat a lot of food, greasy stuff.
Okay, that
Gets
sounds
the
fine
blood
for me
pumping.
too. I help myself to food and drink the water slowly.
Yeah. Periville comes back shortly afterwards, after kind of doing some calculations and bringing a little bit more food out. She says, I think overall, with the amount of ski y'all had, and we got a whole chicken, we got some other, well, the food was part of your stay. So I'd say with the drinks, that's a total of, I'd say, about 8 gold pieces.
Okay. And I hand her 8 gold pieces.
Whoa. I want to take the little. Was she writing it down? Like, could I take the little sheet
Yeah,
that she
take
has?
a look at it. Yeah.
Can I take a look at that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and you see, it's calculating the. I don't know the exact numbers, but there was definitely.
I think he's just asking, is it accurate?
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely accurate. It's the ski
But,
might be overpriced, but
Yeah, I wouldn't be worried about the price of the objects, just that the objects were accurate.
oh definitely, yeah. She's not trying to rip you off in that sense. You see all the rounds of ale. It's quite a lot. It's like 20 ales. How many rounds you had? And all
I'm
the
just
rounds
like
of
counting,
skiing.
like in my head, like.
Yeah, you're like, how many did I drink though?
I hand her 8 gold.
She takes it. She goes, "Oh, right, excellent. Well, if you need anything else, let me know. You're free to stay another night if you'd like. You can reserve the rooms now. But I'll let you enjoy your breakfast. Just call me over or talk to old Shane, and we can get that all figured out."
Thank you.
Actually, I believe we had a request for some wares. You said something about being a merchant. Like, do you have any spell components or magical devices that you might be willing to part with?
Oh, well, it depends on what you're looking for, and it depends on how much gold you got. There's not a lot of rare ingredients that come through this town, so I'm a little bit conservative with my goods, but if the price is there and the need, what are you looking for?
I just want to be clear. I got some spell components while fighting some bandits, but we didn't really clarify what those were. I'm basically just looking for the components necessary for a find familiar spell. So I don't know what I have, what I don't have.
Okay. You got the components. The components were from the caster bandit that was in the front of the barrow. Okay.
Correct.
So you wouldn't have any of the find familiar components. That would have just been non-gold value stuff, really, unless I had stated it otherwise. But she does, as you kind of, I'd say, list out, some incense, some of the other requirements. She's like, oh yeah, well, there's if you're looking for incense, well, I've got a little bit here myself, but if you head on over to third-hand luxury goods, Saoirse over there, she probably could help you out. She's got tons of that kind of stuff, the incense and the herbs and the gems and inks and papers, all that sort of fun stuff. I'm mostly handling what I can pull together from the creatures around these parts.
Okay. Thanks for the tip.
Oh, absolutely. She's a bit of a character, but she'll get you what you need.
Can I tell her you sent me? Like,
Sure.
okay.
I said most folk who go to the shops around here, they're travelers. I usually tell them where to go, so they're used to it.
Okay.
Anything else you're looking for? I've got a few potions that I'm willing to part with, but most of my reagents I need. But if you got anything specific you're looking for.
Not for me, but I think somebody else wanted something. Are
I look around for Timber.
Timber looks at you and is like,
my head. What was it that he wanted? Something about a elemental water thing.
Oh, Timber, you're in wolf form, aren't you?
right.
Okay. All right. Oh, elemental water. That's very hard to come by in these parts. I've looked around for some myself from some traders. It's great for mixing potions. I'm not really interested in letting go of that unless you're willing to pay a little bit more for it. I could give you a little bit of it, enough for maybe one potion. For maybe where am I? What am I looking for? Elemental water. Okay, I'd let it go for probably 100 gold pieces.
That's pretty steep.
It's a very rare reagent.
Okay. I mean, I guess I could understand that. Would you maybe perhaps be interested in bartering? We acquired some interesting items in our travels. Maybe something piques your interest.
Oh, what are you offering to trade?
I look down at Timber at first, and I just give him a little shrug. I guess he's nodding his head no. But I start searching through my bag, and I say,
Are you have any interest in spell scrolls?
Oh, well, sometimes I'm definitely something of an enchanter myself, so I do like to peruse. What do you got?
Don't know if I have any spell scrolls in the school of enchanting. Maybe you would be more interested in well, I guess Featherfall, if that's something you like. I also can trade you information.
Oh, information. I don't know what kind of information you can offer me. I'm just a humble innkeeper here, but I wouldn't mind taking a look at that scroll of Featherfall. I dabble, but something like that, I might be able to knock some money off of the cost of your water elemental, or you know.
I pull out the scroll. I show it to her briefly, like I just leave it on the table, and like I'm basically like going like this. But I say,
well, you might want to change your mind about the information. As an innkeeper, I'm sure you see many other adventurers, such as myself, maybe some bored guards every once in a while. I happen to have a lead on a hefty treasure that is nearby this area, and they have a very detailed map on how to acquire such a wealth or fortune. It will require some legwork, but will pay off, I assure you.
What sorts of treasure are we talking about?
I found a mystical door, and within it is inscribed a large amount of rubies and gems, and centrally a colossal diamond that has magical properties.
Yeah, well, I'm not much of an adventurer myself. I mostly like to send folk to go do the adventuring for me, and then I'll just pay them, and then I make my money elsewhere. So I'm not looking to go spelunking into any caverns to find diamonds as big as whatever. So I'll take the Featherfall scroll, and I'll knock 50 gold off of that elemental water for you.
I look back down and I see Timber not shaking his head, and I say,
still a little steep for us. We racked up a little bit of a bill. How about this? I think that maybe the guards had some work for us. Why don't we just table this deal and I'll come back later with the scroll.
Sure, I've got a few other potions if you're interested in just buying potions. I've got, your basic healing potions. I've got your antitoxin salves. I've got some potions of climbing. If you've got the money for it, it's not too expensive, but I've got a potion of giant strength left over from my last stock. Most of the regiment took them, but, I've got one left.
Giant strength, huh, guys? Anything? I could go for some healing potions, honestly.
Yes, I would like healing potion as well.
How much
Alright.
for the giant strength potion?
I forgot for a second. 1 second. Oh well, the giant strength. It's a bit of a hard one to make, given the need for the ingredients. But I'd say the giant strength I can let go for. I'd say 125 gold.
Kieran coughs out some water. I don't understand this economy at all.
Oh, you believe me? I don't either. But
That's fair. Never mind then. It's a little out of my, how you humans say, ballpark.
now, if you were to provide me with some of the ingredients, I can always make these potions for you cheaper. You can find me some giant toes, and I can whip you up your own giant potion for much, much, much cheaper.
Oh, that's all you need? Just some giant's toes? Yeah, it was.
Well,
it's
there's other
fantastic.
reagents that go into it, but the most expensive one is a giant toe, because who's bringing me giant toes? There's no giant
Are there any
farms around here.
Giants in this area?
Sometimes.
Farm giants?
I was a joke. It's okay, lad. I saw how much you drank last night. Well, sometimes there's a few hill giants. You're not going to find some of the more wild giants like the frost or the wind or any of those. They're a bit too mystical for these parts. But hill giants, oh yeah.
Interesting. Well,
But I definitely can sell you some healing potions. If that's what you're after.
Yes, I would like one, please.
Well, I've got 4 for sale. If you all would like them, it's 50 gold each.
I'll take one.
Absolutely. Brian, now stop cleaning. Stop. We don't have any guests. All right. Well, you haven't bought a room again. Brian, why don't you go back there and grab some of my tinctures? We got some customers here for the apothecary. Yeah, I'll have that out. Anyone else? I've got 3 more.
Wiswick looks at his meager coin purse and says,
Okay, I'll take one.
All right, that's 2 health potions. Any more?
I'm all set, thank you.
All right,
For
well,
me, thank you.
well, if you need any more, let me know. I've also got these antitoxin salves if you're interested in that.
What are they?
Could we get a
what kind
deal
of-
on them? We're kind of short on cash, and we've already.
Well, if you buy them in bulk, I can definitely knock some gold off of them. Antitoxin will just give you a little bit of an edge against that poison for an hour. You have advantage on con saves against poison for an hour.
Sean, I'd like to tap into my Unduran medicines. Is she selling us this because we're gonna come up against something poisonous in the near future?
He's not gonna tell you.
He might. Shut the fuck up.
D100.
D100.
You can't tell.
Yeah, D100. Something minor like this. No plot. No, none of that.
No, give me an insight check.
Ooh, all right. I don't think I have a lot of that.
At disadvantage because you're
Yeah, that's
fucking
fair.
hungover as hell.
Breaking the
Well,
laws
Sean,
of
I rolled a
reality.
17 and an 18.
Oh my
So we're
god.
gonna go with a 17 plus a 0 for insight, so it's a 17.
This is where your good rolls are happening.
So, the fact that she doesn't have a lot of this stuff and she's trying to sell it to you, I mean, if she's got it, it's got a use.
Mm.
You're just thinking the economy of the region. If she's making them, she's making them for a reason. So there must be some poisonous beasts in this region if antitoxins are necessary at all. You've all encountered plenty of poison in your time in Tresix, so it's hard to tell if it's something that's threatening the region directly, but there's poison monsters
their health?
everywhere.
How much for one of the poison?
Well, if you buy one, it's about 40 gold. But if you buy them in bulk, I can knock them down about 5 or 10 gold, depending on how many you buy. Got a total of 5 of them. If you buy all 5, I'll knock it down to 20 gold each.
One moment.
Cal throws up into the
Yeah,
trash.
I was like about to for the joke, but then I realized that I rolled a 20 on the Constitution. So I wouldn't.
You're more of a headache than a nausea.
Yeah. So I turn to my companions and I go, "Do we need the things? Q, what do you think?"
Well, I already have prepared Lesser Restoration, which can cure one of poison.
We're okay, thank you.
Fair enough. It's all right. I've also got
I
those
need-
potions of climbing if you'd like.
I need to go for a walk.
All right. Well, I think I've taken up enough of your time.
I just have one question for you.
Oh, absolutely. What would you like?
Is there somewhere around here that deals with imbibing weapons?
Imbibing weapons? You mean, what does that mean? Like
If I wanted to put something in a
Drinking
weapon?
weapons, she means.
drinking weapons?
Yeah, it's when you drink your swords. She might mean imbuing.
Imbuing. Oh. Well, do you mean an enchantment?
Wow, that's embarrassing. Yes.
I'll be outside.
This is where you shake off. You're like, I had a few ales too. Huh?
Yep.
Yeah, we could imbue a few drinks later.
You mean
Oh no, it's a
do you
thing.
mean like magically, or are you talking about
Well,
sharpening?
no, magically.
Well, I tinker myself a little bit with magical enchantments, but I'm a bit of what you'd call an amateur. You're not going to find many proven enchanters in a hamlet like Brackland Glen. You'd have to go to one of the capitals for that, larger city, or find someone on the road. One of those. Those are dangerous folk. I always tell folk, don't get your enchantments from vagrants, no matter how good the price is.
I'll take you. We'll make it to Vermalcio one day. I'll take you to the Smiths on Red Street.
Now, there used to be a great enchanter over in Imagine Said I used to learn a little bit from, but he left a long time ago.
Do you know where he went?
I don't know. He kind of took the old dusty trail. I think he became one of those vagrants I was talking about. I don't know. You deal with that many alchemical ingredients and magical enchanting objects. It tends to addle the mind a little bit.
Ha! I exclaim, looking at Wiswick a little.
Yeah, we'd been enchanting for 40 years straight, I think. That's gonna
Was
do
his name?
something. Oh, well, his name, let me find my notes here. Oh no, where's my naming convention?
You can tell my party while I quickly leave.
Probably Orlin.
Yeah, Tiber's gonna get up and follow Cal. Not get up, but, well, yes, get up.
Did you say Orlin out loud, Wiswick?
Yeah, but he said it in a mocking manner.
Oh, it wasn't Orlin, but Orlin used to be a student of his for sure. I heard what terrible things happened with Orlin down over in Imagine Said. He used to live here. I knew him when he was a little boy, but he used to work with Erlin. Oh no, that sounds too close to our Orlin. I'm changing his name right now. He used to work closely with Elgoth. It's just my luck. The name I look to is
That's at
Arlen.
least you're
Orlin and
consistent.
Arlen. Well, they just made so many enchantments together. Orlin,
So,
he went
Elgoth,
down. Elgoth, yeah.
He's that vagrant you were talking about?
Well, there's a few vagrants that wander around these regions, but if you meet Elgoth on the road, I'd be careful. He's not necessarily the safest one to purchase. You might get a deal, but also who knows? It might accidentally be cursed. It might backfire or be
That's
broken.
where he got it from.
Oh, yeah. You guys often seem to self-reflect in the middle of conversations.
Yes. Well,
I guess that's the adventuring life, right?
Yeah, there's a
Oh.
lot of missing pieces, you know. It's just one big puzzle. I'm excited to solve.
Well, that's life, isn't it?
You said that.
Well, could I get you anything else, or are you all set? Been happy to talk with you. Don't get to talk this kind of highbrow stuff that often. It's mostly just ski. But don't get me wrong, I could talk about the distilling process for ski all day, but I think unless you need anything else, I gotta get ready. The lunch crowd's gonna come in soon.
No, actually, I think I'd like that. Could we just talk about the distilling process of ski all day?
Oh, well, maybe if you come by tomorrow, we could talk about it. I got some work to do.
Yeah, if you have time
Yeah,
later,
that's
I'd
fair.
love to hear about you and your past and things about maybe what exactly you are.
Ah, well, I'm a furballer. You never met a furball before?
You ever meet a Snurvneblin before?
I have.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, who was it? Maybe I know them.
Oh, I was a traveler, came through, wanted to check out Magin Set because, there's a lot of legends about Magin Set from, pre-Godsmack.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what attracted me to this.
That's the local peasant way of putting the Morrissey conflict.
Well, you see, there's the
So-
Moesia conflict, and there's Godsmack.
But no, he came through. He wanted to check out Magin Set. It's thousands of years old. I know it's just kind of a whatever town now, and there's the festival there. But and now there's no one there. But back in the pre-Godsmack days, it was a pretty interesting place. The whole region was supposedly. He told me a few tales, but yeah,
Did
Ace.
he look anything like this?
And I cast a minor illusion of my uncle's face a little younger than he is now.
This was a while back, but yeah, that kind of looks like Owick.
I kind of just like step back and I like slam my hands on the table and like lean in real close to her and I say,
Can you tell me everything you know? Where was he going? What was he doing?
Well, I got some work to do today, but if you want to talk about it later or maybe tomorrow, I'd be happy to talk all day about it.
Oh, come on! I want to know.
All I can tell you is he was looking at the Magin Set, trying to find any remnants of the old spire that he could find, that he read about in some of the, those dusty books in the libraries in Cairdolan.
Ooh,
Yeah,
the
some
Black
legend.
Spire?
Yeah.
It was in ancient times?
Oh yeah, well, I don't know much about it. I just kind of listened to him as he used to like to have ski for dinner, and I would just listen to him talk.
Well, if you have any more information about the spire or anything you might have shared, I would love to have it.
Well, absolutely. Feel free to come by when I'm a little less busy, and we can talk
Okay.
all about it.
Great. Thank you so much. I look forward to our next conversation.
Absolutely. Now, feel free to enjoy the city or Hamlet. We're not a city. And she steps away and starts to go back and cook. And she's really just getting into cooking for. As you notice, a few people come in. It seems like since we're nearing the midday hour, folks are going to start coming in for some lunch. But what would you like to do?
Wiswick frolics off out the door to go to the what was it? The third hand store?
The third hand luxury goods.
Third hand luxury goods. He starts frolicking out, feeling having a new positive look on his morning.
Have we seen Valen at all this morning?
No, you have not seen Valen yet.
Okay. Kieran might, watching Wiswick frolic out, go, well, he's off on his usual escapades. I believe I'm going to go up and speak with Valen. Re the guard last night. I'm still not sure if it's the best course of action. Kind of looking at Scarlet like, you're the one. Like, what's up?
Hey, Q. I'm going to
Yes.
ask this. Did you know that you abbreviate regarding?
I'm sorry.
Abbreviate the word.
Is he coming in really choppy for anyone else?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a you went out for a sec, Tim.
Ow.
You know, Kieran,
Yes.
you abbreviate the word regarding a lot.
Oh. Well, that's because obviously in Elvish,
Mm-hmm.
it's shorthanded a lot because regarding is a long word when you can just say re,
Sure.
as in previous. Before.
I guess I assumed that Elysian would abbreviate other words too, but
Kieran, I'll
That's
go
cool.
with you upstairs.
Thank you.
It's at that point, Cal, you hear just below your eye line. Oh, I thought the same thing when I heard him saying Ray. You see Toira's just like scrubbing the side of the bar, like just next to you.
you
Did
know,
anyone ask you, Toira?
No one asks me anything.
No.
no one ever asked me nothing. You know, Toira, you seem very lovely, but the whole constantly appearing everywhere that you're not supposed to be, it's off-putting. It's off-putting. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Well,
Okay. I'm gonna go make sure Wiswick doesn't kill anybody or himself.
Whoa.
and you see
Not on
Tori
purpose.
sort of like looks up as you walk off, and she's like, and she just makes eye contact with Timber, who's just sitting there as a wolf. Just, what are you doing, pup? Can I get you anything?
And then when he shakes his head, he's just gonna turn around and follow Q.
Okay, so Wiswick and Cal are going off to the shops, as the rest of you are going to go check on Valen. All right, so Kieran and Scarlet and Timber, you get upstairs. You knock on the door. It takes a while before you hear anything, and you actually hear like some stumbling and like short, like quick movements. You hear something get knocked over. You hear some thuds as the door just opens slightly ajar, and you just see just this face covered in sweat and just crouched over in the dark, only lit by a light candle. As you just see, the Asimur.
Greetings. Is the captain, Valen, in there with you, the wood elf?
Yes. No, he left in the morning. And said he'd be back.
Did he say where he was going or when he'd be back?
He said he'd be back by dinner. But he's... Oh, where are we?
Well, my friend, we are in the township of Brackerland Glen. We are the group that, I assume, saved your life, right? Looking back to, like, Scarlet and Timber to be like, yeah, we saved his life, right? That's what we did?
The moss didn't split itself.
I don't know. I don't know much about that.
How much have you spoken with the captain?
Just this morning, I woke up. He told me what happened. He was trying to help me remember.
Probably should have done this a while ago, but and Kieran's just gonna like put his hand on his face and cure wounds. Or inflict wounds. Yeah, cure wounds. Cure
Hey,
wounds.
it's like, oh, I got one reagent wrong.
Said one word. In Elysian, it's very easy to change, cure and inflict.
You watch as you sort of the light of Ilyuvania leaves through your fingers, and you can see that his veins light up, and it takes for sure, and it's somewhat strange to see because you can see like the veins lighting up and the black blood that courses through them due to this fallen nature. The heavy crow's feet under the eyes, and he seems to straighten up a little. Who are you people?
I believe we're being referred to as the Heroes of Magicset.
I don't quite like that name, though. We should think of a different one.
That's fair. It is very region specific.
Well, that's we're not quite heroes.
Well,
I don't think.
for yourself. Anyways, we delved into a barrows south of here.
Barrows.
Yes, of some ancient archmage, we believe. And it was there that we found a man cloaked in yellow wearing a wooden pallid mask, performing a ritual involving you, where you were similarly dressed in a yellow robe and a pallid mask. He, the leader of this cult.
As you start to explain these things, particularly when you talk about the pallid mask, the Asimir starts to panic, not panic in a very but like their eyes kind of widen. They just sort of.
Apologies, maybe this is too much at the moment.
I don't remember that. He is help. The elf is helping me. Remember?
Of course.
He went. He said he was going out of the town to search for. I don't know what. Scout. I don't know. He said he was stopping at the Lawmasters before leaving.
Of course. Looking back at Scarlet, Kieran's gonna go, well, I guess we will be helping out the town because I don't know if it's smart to leave here without Valen. Do you agree?
I do. Maybe we can go see what he wanted with the Lawmaster.
My thoughts exact. Well, my friend, I apologize. Do you have a name you prefer?
I do.
Erlin.
Yeah, his name. Yeah.
My name is Shane.
Bracken.
Lurby.
Man, I need to
My
get.
name is Bracton Moore.
My name is Bracken.
No, I need to get some ink for my printer because I do not like having to go through my Google Docs for this.
Control F, dude.
No, I know. It's that I left the notes about where his name is in the previous session's notes,
Well, that's just foolish.
like a dummy.
It's almost like you expected us to cure his wounds and ask more earlier. But we're kind
Or
of
just not spend so much time sitting at a bar.
Yeah, maybe. It's all good. It's all good.
Angel face.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I am Angel Face.
It's okay, we can
Angel
edit this
face.
out. We can edit this out.
We do not.
Yeah, just edit and post.
Fix
Just
it in
post.
post. Fix it in post.
Fix
Oh,
it.
maybe his name
and
should be like
post.
Exiting
Oh,
Post.
there it is. There it is. A fixie post. A fixie post. No, his name is. Oh, my stupid thing is slow. His name
yeah, we
is
probably
my
should.
name. Sorry about that.
I believe my name is Johan. Johan. This is what I remember. He helped me remember that.
Johan. Well, you continue to rest. We will go about our business. I assume we'll be back with the Captain Valen later to discuss some expositions.
Yes. Thank you. I think.
Don't thank me. Thank the Crescent Hearted.
Yes. Goodbye.
He closes the door. So yes, stopping in now with Wiswick and Cow. You go out into the square just for. So the first thing you see in the square, no, you see the square is much more lively than it was the night you arrived. Sorry. The first thing you notice as you step out is that the center of the square has a large park in the middle, actually. Large for the town. You know, this is a small hamlet. The square itself. Oop, that's too many people. That's too many people. It's quite bustling, though. And there is this patch of green grass in the middle that has these very large oak trees that have grown in it. They're so ancient that, you know, the way oak trees, when they get old, they just sort of billow out like tentacles. And there's looks like maybe 3 or 4 of them. It's hard to tell from here. Then their branches just sort of almost create a dome of a canopy within itself over this small circular park in the center. And it looks like the villagers have tended to little archways cut in the branches to allow entrance into this little grove. That's in the center of the town. You can see people coming in and out, looking around. You notice now that you're in the daylight that the square has these painted and colored stones that make up these beautiful mosaics in the cobblestone. They're very dimmed, as if they haven't been tended to in a long time, but they are. You can still recognize some beautiful patterns and colors amongst it. Looking around, it doesn't take you long to see a 2-story building, 2-story apartment-looking building that has a sign out front that says Third Hand Luxury Goods. It's obviously like a store on the lower level, home on the top. Amongst other things you can see across the square is the Lawmaster's Tower, which is roughly 90-foot tall round tower with an adjacent small barracks on it. It's the only stone structure besides the Abbey of the Everflame. At the top of the tower, you can see that it has a large bell in the top. Next to it, not too far, between some residential buildings, you do see the Abbey of the Everflame, which has a very traditional Gothic church look, with a large stained glass circular window in the front tower that has different shingles of red, silver, white, orange, yellow, making up the sigil flame of the Everflame. You also see directly across from it is what you presume was mentioned earlier as the Rooted Hall. So you see a dome-topped stone structure. Within the center of the dome, sticking out of the top, you can see an ash tree, which is overgrown over the top, although it does not have any leaves yet. And then you see the pillars that make up the surrounding of the circular building are carved like roots themselves. You hear the sounds of the clinking metal coming from a open air smithy shop and a sign that says Scriver's Armor and Strings. These are the largest shops in this square. You could probably find other shops too, but these are the ones that have the big signs out front and are really advertising.
So Cal's feeling better now. He's out in the fresh air and the food's working. And he rolled a nat 20, so we're on the up.
Definitely.
So Isric, what are we actually looking for? I didn't pay any attention to the conversation. You started talking about magic and
yeah, I'm looking for a reagent store. I'm looking. I need some more components in order to resummon my familiar jet.
Oh yeah, I missed Jet. Yeah, okay. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's rock and roll.
Okay. So you're gonna head towards the third hand store.
Yeah, I'm like investigating around. Maybe just ask somebody like for directions or whatever.
Wait, there was
Yeah.
a big sign, wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean it's the kind of thing
I
where
had
if
a
you just kind
general
of
idea.
walk around the park in the center, you eventually will see all of the shops. You'll easily able. Doesn't take you long to find a third hand luxury goods store. You go inside. You hear this little tiny bell ring as you come inside, and it's a small chamber with bookshelves lining the walls on the left and right side. It's very, very claustrophobic. The bookshelves go straight up about 30 feet. Now that you're inside, you can see that the second story it just goes straight to the ceiling, the shop area, and you can see a balcony above the bookshelves with some heavy maroon curtains, and the place reeks of incense. Like you're definitely gonna be able to get the incense you need. It's pungent to the nose. It stings the eyes. You can actually see it floating and kind of lingering amongst the first floor. You see it on these bookshelves. There are a lot of books, but there's also, a glass jar that has, has this green slime in it. You see another jar that has fireflies in it. Just all sorts of accoutrement for organic reagents and other things. But then you also see behind the front desk is your classic, scroll work, vellums that one might want to buy, several cases of inks, and as you approach the front desk itself, it is a jeweler's case. So you see several gems underneath there of varying sizes and quality, and necklaces and rings and other things. As you approach, you slowly see someone come from the left side out from some of these curtains. As you see a half-elven woman who's probably about. Oh, I have it written down. She is in her. It's hard to tell because you don't experience a lot of half-elves. She's anywhere from your eye between 40 and 80. It's hard to tell with the sort of the half-elven nature. She has very short, pointed ears, very, very bright gray eyes. You can notice some wrinkles, but there's also a heavy layer of powdered makeup. She has short hair that's sort of held up and swept up and back, and it's very bright gray itself. She's wearing very nice violet robes that have gold trim on them. As she just sort of holds her hands out and comes and says, "Yes, hello, welcome to the Third Hand Luxury Goods. I am Saoirse Valandir. How can I help you today?"
I think upon first entering the store, Wiswick's kind of like a kid in a candy shop, where he's just like in awe of like how wonderful this place is, and he leans over to her as she introduces herself and says,
I am Wiswick Netherrock. You might have known an Owick in the past. I must say, I admire your shopkeep very much. This is a beautiful establishment.
Thank you, Wiswick Netherrock. I have not met an Owick Netherrock. Perhaps I see many travelers through traveling wizards and magi come to my shop.
Yeah, you might have missed your memory. I'm sure he would have loved this place, though. Well, I've come for some small reagents. I could use some incense of my own, and I need to recreate my familiar.
Fine familiar. You need the ingredients. How many casting worths would you like to purchase? I have plenty.
I've got to be honest with you, I'm a little short on money, but maybe we can do some bartering, and perhaps you have some information for me. I've been looking for some information on a black spire of
Hmm.
sorts. It's from a nearby town known as Maginset.
Yes, I am familiar with Maginset. The Black Spire you're interested in. Well, tell me first what you have for trade.
I pull out all of my spell scrolls, excluding the book that I just recently acquired, and I will also put down the rune scroll and the small piece of paper that had like the treasure map on it. Oh, my treasure map. I'll even throw down my socks of finding and what else do I got in here? I don't think I have the staff with the skull, even though it's in my inventory. But just to be clear, that's the scroll of Misty Step, the scroll, the Tiny Hut scroll, the Featherfall scroll, and the Fireball scroll.
Okay. She holds up each scroll and unfurls it. She reads the equations. She holds up the socks. And you see trace a few runes in the air, or in her eyes light up lightly, and you recognize her casting Identify on them.
I just say like, please, careful. Those are my favorites.
Interesting. And how many and what exactly are you looking for in exchange? What are you giving forward for the incense, and how much incense do you want for what you're giving forward? How many casts worth?
Well, honestly, I don't see that spending too much money on incense. I mean, they're fairly cheap, right? I've laid out quite a spread here. I'm kind of looking for something more interesting. I see you've got a beautiful collection of jewelry.
Yes. What sort of gems are you interested in?
I kind of want to just take a look at her jewelry section and see if there's anything that appeals to me magically. Maybe I'll even just I'll start casting my own identify rune on something that looks intriguing.
Okay.
Cal looks uncomfortable in a corner.
Yeah, this is Cal. This whole thing is just freaking you out. Yeah, Cal, you're uncomfortable in a corner, and you just kind of like turn and look, and there's just a huge jar next to you that has a bullywug head in it. That's just staring at you, going.
Oh my goodness.
I just kind of side eye it and then just look back down at the floor.
Yeah, its eyes follow you. Kind of like follows your head direction. It's just.
I kind of look back at Cal and I say,
Hey, Cal, you got anything you want to give up for barter? Possibly to get us some better stuff?
I would very much like to leave.
Well, you don't really need to stay. I might be a little while. Do you wanna go? I'll meet up with you in the center of town.
Sounds good. And Cal leaves without looking at anything.
Have a lovely day.
She starts to calculate and look through all of your items.
I may have something that might be of interest to you. Let me look.
Yes. And you see she bends down and opens up a section of her the jewelry case below that's not in the stack that's in the front. And you see she pulls out this very nice periopt. It is got this gold embellishment all around it, with a very nice looking ruby in the center on a golden chain. It's a tight golden chain, something that you would wear and it would be sitting right at the crescent, or on someone larger than you would be closer to their heart.
Yes, this is a magical periopt that when attuned to its user, it will protect you in the most dire of situations. It will close your wounds and keep you living if you are brought down by the blade. It's a periapt of wound closure,
Interesting.
which, while you wear this pendant, you stabilize whenever you are dying at the start of your turn. In addition, whenever you roll a hit die to regain hit points, double the number of hit points it restores.
Wow. Is this a temporary thing, like a one-time use on the?
This is an attunement item.
Very cool.
Now, I would have to take much of what you have here for this. But it might pique your interest. And if you give me more, I can give you stacks of charcoal, incense, and herbs for your familiar.
So I look at the pile that I have. I think that he is hesitant to give up his socks at first. He looks down at the socks and he says,
This is probably what you want the most, right? But
Very interesting.
It's tough for me to leave them, you know. We've had some good times together.
So just refresh me what you've put down. You've put all your scrolls. You've got the Misty Step, Tiny Hut, Fireball, Featherfall. You didn't put Firefall down, or did you?
I did put Fireball down.
Okay.
I did. Oh wait, no. Fireball was a part of the book, right?
Book, correct? Yeah, correct.
Right. So no Fireball.
Okay, so Misty Step, Hut, Featherfall, socks. What else did you put down? Anything else?
Well, I can't put down the ring, otherwise I would. Oh wait, I do have a ruby fire ring.
You do have the fire ring, yeah.
That was not on the table, but it is like I am wearing it, so she could probably see it if she wanted to make a deal. Oh, I have animate dead scroll as well.
All right. So, we have quite a collection here. What I am most desire are these socks, but you seem hesitant to relinquish them. I notice you have a ring on your finger, radiating magic. Is that for trade?
I don't think it is. I'm quite attached to this ring. Maybe if you could offer me something a little bit more flashy, I might consider it. This ring has some significant defensive capabilities of its own.
I do not know. What I can give you is I can give you this periapt if you are so interested in it. And I can give you 5 stacks of ingredients for your familiar. I will do this for... If you will not give me the socks, perhaps all of these scrolls?
Wiswick thinks about it for a minute and looks down at the scrolls and bites his lip, but he says,
You know, this knowledge, it's quite powerful, but I find myself lacking in the funds to really support my studies. And you run a hard bargain, but I like the cut of your jib. This place is really great. I'll take your deal.
A lot of sailors in the Underdark?
Yeah, you got the Underdark Seas.
they're actually very big.
They are
The
actually.
underground lakes?
Oh yeah. I mean, the Underdark spreads from Alicia down through the Ghost of Ruinations. It's pretty massive. Anyway, she drags all of the scrolls over. And she looks, and she slowly slides the periopt across to you. And then you see she disappears into the back for a little while, probably packing together your charcoal, incense, and other reagents.
As she does this, I just want to double check, like if I haven't already, like it cast identify on the Periot myself, just to make sure that everything checks out.
Yeah, and it does check out. So as you're casting this, you hear a little, you hear a like bronze like plate or bowl get knocked off one of the shelves and just starts to do that symbol shake on the ground. As you look over and you see crawling around a stack of books and other relics, you just see this little blue-scaled pseudo dragon that's just sort of, and it's just staring right at you, and just see it coughs up a little small the chromatic flame as it's just.
I kind of like lean closer to it and I say,
My, what a beautiful specimen you are.
I mean, for Wiswick, this is just a full-size dragon, right?
do I know anything about pseudo dragons in my studies?
Give me 2 rolls. Give me a first. Give me an animal handling check, just for approaching it, and then 2. Give me a nature check.
So the animal, I'm not very good tonight. The animal handling is 8 plus 0, so 8. And the nature check is 2 plus 10, which is 12.
So the pseudo dragon coughs up another chromatic flame that just lights up the phrase of your beard. And just for a moment, it sort of singes the edges of your beard, and you just get that burnt hair smell as you just like. And then, as far as your knowledge of pseudo dragons, you don't know too much about them. They've got, they have a relation to other draconids, but they're usually only companions or pets like this for pretty magically attuned individuals. Sometimes you've heard of some people gaining them as familiars themselves.
If that's the case, could I just, while I wait for her to like finish her business in the back of the store, I'm just gonna like sit down and start writing notes about the creature, and like maybe just like feeding it stuff that I had in my pocket, maybe some bacon left over from breakfast. And see if I could see what types of mannerisms it is, how it moves, stuff like that. I just want to get some details of my own about this creature.
Give me another animal handling check, and I'll give you a little bit, and then she'll come back and give you your stuff.
Ooh, this time I got a 17.
Okay. So the behavior of the pseudo dragon reminds you of a cat, really, in the way that as it starts to become more comfortable with you, you see that it kind of like moves in that way cats do, where it kind of walks back and forth, maybe occasionally rubbing its side up against you. You notice some purring noises actually coming from it, mixed in with its sort of squeaks and little growls. And then occasionally it'll fly up, land on your head, and sort of sink over your face, and then drop down into your book. It's an adorable creature. As she comes in very quickly afterwards with a stack of wrapped incense blocks and wrapped charcoal and other herbs, and just, it looks like you have met Silas.
Yes, I've taken quite a liking to him. Her?
I don't tend to give him I guess I just did. It's a boy.
It coughs again and just singes your beard again. But she hands you over the wrapped herbs, and it's 50 gold worth of fine familiar ingredients.
Nice. All right. So, do you think I gathered enough information about this creature to perhaps replicate creating this with my Find Familiar spell?
No. What you might understand, it would take you a little bit more research, and you'd actually have a better chance of finding an actual pseudo dragon and bonding with it to turn it into a familiar than you would in creating a pseudo dragon familiar, because they're a bit more powerful despite their similarities and the fact that powerful mages and sometimes warlocks have them as familiars. It's not common for the standard spell to be able to create these.
Tell me, what was her name? Cylindras?
Her name is Saoirse Valindir.
Saoirse, if I may call you Saoirse, where did you find such a fantastic creature?
Well, I've in my younger days, I traveled quite frequently across Gwenvalir. I have not always had a shop in Brackland Glen. I have spent time in the north. I've spent time in Byzantium. I've spent time in Farathris. I've even visited Theris Moor once. In the Modnari Hollow of that region is where I found this little fellow.
All right, I gotta write this down.
I wouldn't want to. Have you been with him for a long time? You'd say.
Oh, he is a close companion of mine. Yes, Silas and I have been together for nigh a decade.
Wow.
I found
that's
him
quite a
surrounded by yellow drakes in the Modnari Valley. The Modnari Hollow is going to be lunch that day.
That's quite an awesome story. I'm really glad for you. I can't say that I am not just a little bit jealous of your current standing. You've got a wonderful companion, a beautiful store filled with knowledge and power. I've really got to say, you're really a sight for sore eyes. And if you ever need anything, or you just let me know, okay?
Absolutely, Wiswick Netherrock. You are welcome back into my store at any time. I do not see a lot of folk interested, as they say, and she sort of gives you a wink and nods her head, hiding in plain sight.
I just give her a little nod as well, and maybe just like a small glimmer phases through my skin, like just so she could like I get her what she's getting at, and I think I like give her a quick little bow for goodbye, and say,
Oh yes, and if you have any information about during your studies, if you have any information about that Black Spire, or perhaps a entity known as the Pallid King,
Yes, okay.
you be sure to let me and my friends know. My familiar is a bat.
Ah, lovely. Well, if you so want to have discussions more about research, feel free to come back at any time, or if you are of the skill, you're always welcome to send me a message.
okay, great. I bid her adieu, and
She gives you a similar
take off.
bow. You can see sort of the tresses of the deep violet robe spread out. You can actually see the robe opens up, and you can see that she's wearing very fine yellow button-down, sort of puffy shirt, held tight with some high-waisted leather breeches. You can see a whole, like, there's this. You didn't see it below in front of the robe before, but you see she has a scarf, but it's not a scarf. It's essentially looks like it looks like it's a rope around her neck that has just like little bones stacked on top of each other like Lincoln logs, all around down, and it just sort of opens up and you just see this like bone scarf that she wears.
It's like a belt-fed machine gun.
Yeah, pretty much, but like knuckle
But
bones.
bones, yeah.
Yeah, and occasionally you'll see like a raven skull in there, or just other small creature bones and some larger bones. Just all around a real character. Paravel was not wrong in saying she was eccentric.
Wiswick under his breath while he's putting on his new jewelry is just like, oh
Man, she's so bad, so cool. Did you see that thing? Oh my god.
All right, so you exit out, and Cal is waiting for you out in the courtyard.
I didn't say I was waiting, but okay.
Is there? I mean, if you want to just go back to the tavern, that's fine.
No, I was gonna go into that Smith shop.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, you gave it a name, so.
Absolutely. So you get out of the shop. You sort of see Wiswick fanboying over this woman, and you take a deep breath when you get out. You're like, I don't know if I'm hungover or if that place was terrible. Just remembering that sound now forever. But easily enough, you walk over. Now it's sort of a tent, a canopied tented outdoor smithy attached to a shop itself that has a sign on it that has so the sign has a lot of things on it. It says Scriver's Armory and Armor and Strings, but it has a blacksmith hammer. It has a needle and thread. It has a bow with some arrows, and it has a lute on it. As you see a man in this courtyard, who is he looks decrepit is the best way to put it. He is hunched over. He has a frizzy beard sticking out that's completely white. He has a shaved head entirely. You see very short half-elven ears. And you see just these piercing blue eyes under this very tan bronze skin. He's likely half Gwyn, similar to Wyla, as he's sort of hunched over and just banging down on a sword he's working on, a short sword he's working on. He's not noticed you at all.
I'm debating going to talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks busy. Somebody just walk in the shop.
Okay. So when you walk into the shop, you notice immediately that there's like breastplates, there's studded leather armor, there's half plate, all sorts of armor. There's not a lot of weapons. Seems that a lot of them may have been purchased or confiscated by the regiment to support their efforts. You see a young woman, probably in her, not young, actually not really young, more middle-aged. She's probably in her 40s. Young compared to the man outside. She has similar bronze skin, no pointed ears or just the slightest hint of it, amber eyes, and this platinum hair that's sort of shorn short on the sides for an undercut. She's wearing simple leather clothes, just leaning back against kind of like writing in a ledger. You also notice it's not just armor and weapons. You notice bows, you notice bowstrings, arrows. You see tapestries, other tailoring supplies. Each thing looks worse, though. Armor looks the best. Bows look second best. The tailoring is shoddy work. And then finally, you see these just god-awful looking lutes and other stringed instruments that are just hanging on the wall.
What other string instruments? I'm sorry, Sean, you don't have to.
No, you see mostly lutes. You see some mandolins. It's mostly those sort of small stringed instruments. But they look real bad. Like, clearly in this man's several decades of living, he has tried to master several crafts and really has only mastered armoring.
Hello.
She looks up from her book and is just like, "Oh, hello. We were not expecting
much business this time of year. Sorry, how can I help you?
Certainly. I suppose I'm just looking around. So if you have anything of note, perhaps behind the counter, I'd love to learn about that. But in general, I think I'll just take a look myself. Thank you.
Well, absolutely. If you, what are your needs? Are you a traveler? Are you an adventurer? Are you just looking for some commissioned work, plow for your farm? I don't know. What is your need?
Do I look like I would need a plow for my farm? That's a serious
No,
question. I'm not trying to be
no.
sarcastic.
But I don't.
Good.
like
No,
to
I didn't. I was not trying
assume
to affect that. You know.
That is. We can also make you a fine, decorative rapier if you'd like.
I prefer mine functional. Thank you.
I didn't want to presume.
I'm sorry. We got off on the wrong foot. I'm Cal.
she laughs back at that, a bit charmed by it.
I am Lifalia.
Lovely to meet you. Lovely to meet you, Lifalia.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm
Lifalia Scriver.
more than a tad hungover, so I apologize for my manners when I first came in. So yes, I suppose I'm simply looking around. Does the old man outside? Is the man outside? Apologies. Does he do repair work as well?
Oh yes, of course. Boral will do almost any sort of armor work, armor smithing. He's better with the armor than he is with the weaponry, and better with the weaponry than he is with the fletching. But certainly, we absolutely do repair work.
Excellent. I think I'll should I go to him or should I drop them off with you? Both my steels need maintenance.
Oh well, he's more technically proficient than I am. I mostly handle the finances. So if you want to go speak with him, we can situate your bill in here.
Excellent. And as I said, do you have anything perhaps of note? Something that it looks to me that the garrison might have come through here.
Yes. Well, we've been certainly run dry of anything of note or any of our finest steel, but we do have. I don't know what you're seeking. We have some finer armors if you're looking for an upgrade or an improvement. But as far as anything of note, yes, the garrison pretty much wiped us out of any of our finer equipment.
Understood. I'll go see the man. What's his name?
Boral Scriver.
Well, that makes sense. Okay, excellent. Thank you. I'll be right back. And
Absolutely.
I will go to the man.
Okay. So this man's half elf, so he's probably like 150 years old or something like that. But he's just very focusedly like working on this blade. You'll need to like go up to him and like almost be right on top of him to talk to him.
Okay, I'm gonna get up to just outside of hammer range.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, grandfather.
There's like a moment where you think like he thinks you're a relative before, and he's like, "No." Oh, hello. I don't believe I haven't met you before.
No, you certainly have not. My name is Cal.
Cal, welcome to my shop. And she tempers the blade and looks up to you. What can I do? Did you speak with Lifalia inside?
I did. She directed me to you. I was just looking for some basic maintenance on my blades here, and I take out both my rapiers.
And so he kind of holds his hands out and gives you kind of a nod, like, "May I?"
Yeah.
And he sort of takes it, and you see this is where there's like a spryness in him that you didn't notice before, with like handling and balancing out the blades and holding it. It's like, very fine craftsmanship. This is certainly of noble design. What's you just need sharpening, some maintenance, some chip away any fractures.
Excellent. Yes, if you could look for any weaknesses in the blade too, I'd appreciate knowing where they are,
Absolutely.
or if they're there. I should say.
Well, certainly I may. It may take a little bit of time, but I can have it back to you within a few hours for sure.
Thank you. I would do it. I would take care of it myself, but I didn't bring any of my actual forge kit with me.
Yes. Well, while I have you here, could I interest you in any of my luthier work? I can make a very nice and affordable lute.
Was that the selection indoors?
Oh, certainly, and I can also work on any. I'm always looking for new challenges, and I would love an opportunity to make you a commissioned work.
if you'd like. Or even if strings are not your thing, I can also make you a fine tunic for any celebrations. And he's really trying. This man was never able to be what he wanted to be. He's always a smith, and he just, now that he's got a little bit of change, he's like, I'm gonna be a luthier.
I don't know if my purse can stretch to any custom work, but I will take a look at the selection indoors.
Oh, excellent. And of course, I could also provide any sort of fletching work as well. And if you need any bolts or arrows or even a bow itself or a crossbow, I'm a bit of an engineer, but
A man of many talents.
Oh yes. Oh, well, that's why it's scribes, armors, and strings. I man of many talents.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scriver. I will go settle the bill with Lefali, and I'll be back to collect the steel.
Absolutely.
And you see he takes your rapiers away, and he immediately begins cleaning them off and getting them ready for sharpening and checking their balance and all of that.
I go back inside, and I examine the loots.
Oh, they're poor quality. Like you even take one off and strum it, and it's just an atrocious sound. Like there's just they're not made correctly at all. It's like if someone took a block of wood and was like, I'm gonna carve this to what I think a lute is, and then stretch some strings on it.
Ah, okay. I put the lute down and I go, I'll be back. I gotta go collect a small friend.
Okay, easy enough to do. You start heading towards the third-hand store, and Wiswick comes out beaming and meets you into the courtyard.
How did that go, Wiswick?
Well, I don't want to say anything, but yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's how much did that run us, Wiswick?
I didn't pay its dime, baby. It's all about that knowledge.
So
Barter's the way to go, buddy.
Okay, all right. I understand that. Should we go back to the others, or should we go take a crack at that Lawmaster's tower? I'm feeling a little better now.
Well, I mean, I don't know what we made. Scarlet said we didn't really make a plan last night. I think it's better if we all gather together before we find out what's going on. I think we probably don't want to help the guards, or I kind of want to go back and get a reward.
No, I didn't hear that. Never mind. Wait, did Kieran ever? No, he never shared what. No, Scarlet never shared what Valen said to us, right?
No.
Okay. I guess you're probably right. Wait, did you just advocate not rushing in?
Well, I mean, that guy was kind of a jerk, right?
No, he was fine. He was fine. I don't know why we all decided he was mean.
I think
he had mean
reminded me
eyes,
of
but he
Valen.
said nothing mean. A few backhanded compliments.
He was staring at us all night. It was very awkward.
Look, he's a lieutenant in command of a dead-end post. There's no reason he's going to be a particularly sharp tool, as it were. He's just going to be a tool. And there's not really... it's pretty standard small town, big fish in a small pond, as it were.
I guess that's true. We should at least talk to him. If the people here need any help,
Yeah.
I'd be willing to help. It seems like a really nice town.
It does. It seems very nice. There's a park. It's nice.
All right.
I mean, all right.
Let's head
There's
back
a lovely
and see
park.
what everybody else is up to.
All right. Fine.
Beautiful oak trees.
Very large oak trees. It's nice. Lovely.
All right. So the rest of you, did you want to just wait for them to come back? You had a very brief amount of time, maybe an hour before they get back to you. The tavern is starting to fill up with folks who are enjoying mostly oats.
As it got crowded, Scarlet probably would have picked up stairs for them. We were
Yeah,
upstairs
we'll
already.
wait for them. Just make it easier. We're just gonna wait.
Okay. Yeah, it's not that much time. So, you all reconvene in the Guavrian Tooth Inn in the main area. You find yourselves at the same table you were at last night. Yeah, you're all back together.
And what time is it? Roughly?
At this point, it's about 12:30.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about 12:30.
So
Getting
Check
close
it
to
out, guys. I
Wizard-
got this cool thing.
You see a beautiful like gold chain necklace with this very bright ruby at the center that has this little tiny glimmer in the center of it, with this gold filigree all around it.
Ah, and what do you have there, Wiswick?
It's a I did a little bartering and I got myself a brand new jewel. It's got a few little magic kinks that I'm sure you'll be interested in. I'll tell you the details later, but it's pretty snazzy, don't you think?
Yes, it looks quite lovely around your neck.
And I just do a few poses.
Always the showboat, huh? Well, we went to go check on Valen, and it appears he is gone for the day. The Fallen One is up and about, but he still doesn't quite remember. It seems very similar, actually, to Wyla when we first discovered her in the Druid's Longhouse.
Did anyone get a chance to actually talk to Valen?
No, he left this morning. He must have slipped out while I was in prayer.
I knew we
Anyways,
couldn't trust him.
well, I don't know about that. He does have his own work to be doing for the general. However, I think it's best if we wait for him. And Fallen One said he would be returning around dinner time. So that gives us an opportunity, if we think it best, to assist the town guard, the lieutenant that approached us last night.
I'd say
Personally-
it's worth at least hearing him out, right?
Cal agreed. I don't mind. We can check it out.
The reward could be, more jewelry.
Right, or, it could just be a good feeling in our heart that we did the right thing.
Yes. That also
If anything,
pays
I'd like to
for our
try out
food.
these new gems.
You hear Toira from below. That's what I got.
Toira!
Her voice just got ridiculous.
Stop that! Stop it!
Isn't that what it's all about? Is the good feeling in your heart when you're helping another person?
Unsettling, Toira. It is.
Have
it's
you ever
multiple
actually
times
helped
unsettling.
someone, or only scared them with this?
No. She looks up at you, Kiran, as she's scrubbing the floor and says,
Oh, I've helped everyone in this tavern.
Yes, actually, I believe
That
that's-
sounded dirty, Boyra.
What? Did you say Boira?
Wiswick's purposely messing up her name.
Shane, I think they need a drink.
No, no drinks here.
had
Hey,
her
we're
away.
okay. Thank you,
Shane
Toira.
looks up.
You're a
Shane
lovely
looks up
person.
from the bar.
Waves him off. Waves like no.
Thank you. Good.
I call after. You're a lovely person, Toira. We're not. Okay. It is. That's weird, right? Right.
Yes,
I mean,
no,
like,
it's-
very strange.
Yes.
So, are we
agreed,
going
100%.
to the Lawmasters or not?
Well, hi, Scarlet. Nice of you to join us.
I've been here the whole time.
I
Cal,
think he was referring to your unsettling
Cal locks
silence.
up and he's like,
Anyways,
Yeah, let's go.
yes, I think
Yes.
so.
off to the Lore Masters we go.
Wonderful.
We all party gets up, files out the door.
Easy enough. So for
Yeah, we're over there.
One of us
Yeah,
trips.
everyone- roll a roll a walking check. You all trip and suddenly roll initiative as the park comes to life.
Got a 2.
Everything
Um,
around you explodes into motion. Shards, sharpness.
And there's 50 Guarvarians. No. So for those of you other than Wiswick and Cal, this is the first time seeing the square during the day, so you do notice the beautiful park. You can kind of see somewhat inside of it. There's some kind of old fountain that's a bit ruined looking. Folks are just kind of moving in and out of it. There's some benches in there. You see all the shops around. It's quite jovial. Folks moving about, a few livestock. Directly across, you see the tower, the 90-foot tall roundhouse tower. all made of stone, with the small barracks to the side. You head over. There are a few guards there, but they don't really stop you. They're sort of expecting folks to be in and out, talking to the lawmaster. When you step inside, sorry, where's my notes? I accidentally closed them.
As we were walking, Sean, I was just half-heartedly keeping an eye out for the figure from last night.
Yeah, give me a perception check.
Figure in yellow.
Lady in red.
That's a 1.
Okay.
A lot of dirt.
You're
You
just
see nothing
you're
but
just-
shoes.
yeah, you just see a lot of people. I'd say, interestingly, it's not. I could just tell you that you don't see anything, but I'd say with that one, you're extra paranoid as you're walking through the crowds, where you just will see a tuft of brown hair or blue eyes, and you just.
Every once in a while.
lot of
What?
eye boogers.
Yeah, but you don't notice anything concrete.
Do
just
we
sort of-
notice this?
I would say Curon does. The rest of you don't really.
I was gonna say, Kieran would probably step back, knowing that Scarlet hangs at the back of the room, and seeing this fairly unusual behavior. Kieran's gonna go,
Is everything all right, Father?
What?
You seem very on edge.
Oh,
More so than usual.
yeah, no, it's fine. Nothing, it's fine.
Yes, it is a lovely town. Kieran says, looking around with her like,
Curon trusts what she says, and it's just like, yes. So yeah. I mean, mostly what you're just seeing is folks with goods, at a few families going into the park, but nothing truly strange. You get to the lawmasters. You step inside. The guards kind of give you a nod, kind of familiar with who you are, somewhat, just presuming based on your gear. And you come inside, and it's the first section of the barracks is a long hall with several long tables set on the far and closer side to you. It's probably where the guard eats their dinner. At the front, there's a slightly raised platform where you find a desk with the lawmaster and the lieutenant from the night before. So you see Horace is there, and you also see. Oh, where'd it go? Yes. You see a dwarvish woman at the desk with long braided, it's very dirty blonde with strings of gray in it. As far as a dwarf goes, she's probably in her 60s. Some light mutton chops coming down that are a bit more vibrant and blonde than the rest, with just a little fuzz right here. And she's wearing similar. She's wearing not as intense armor as the regiment guards that are moving around. She's wearing just a leather breastplate over her normal lawmaster attire, bright blue tunic, long sleeve tunic. She has a hammer at her side, but she's looking at the desk, and she's just sort of rubbing her temple as the lieutenant is talking to her. And at that point, she sort of looks up and notices each of you in the back, and just, what's now?
Lieutenant!
Lawmaster Solskjaer, these are the adventurers that the general has so entrusted. I asked them to come here today to see what we can potentially, hopefully, kind of looks to each of you, and with that same smile he had the night before. It's forced. Hopefully they can assist us with some of the issues facing your town before they head to join Kingsley. And she's just like, well, I suppose if they think they can help us, but it doesn't seem like anyone's giving us the time of day to help us. Come forward.
I do.
Walks forward.
I'm Lawmaster Sorsha. This is my town. Who are you that I am to trust my town's safety with?
We are a group of people who are mostly friends, and we solve problems, I guess.
Oh. What an introduction.
Do people go around with like group name? We're not a band. Like I don't.
I was presuming you would
Heroes
give
Imagine
me...
set, maybe.
I was not asking for your
I'm
band
Cal.
name.
Nice to meet
yes, thank you. Cal. Who are the rest of you?
I am Kioran. You have a lovely town. Very rich with history, it seems.
Aye, it's old as shit.
Quite.
The
rest
little
of you?
one is Wiswick, but he can introduce himself. Oh no, he can't. All right, this is Wiswick,
I'm
and
Wiswick.
this is Miss Scarlet.
And of course, our lovely companion, Timber, the wolf.
Ooh. You see her face warms up a little bit at Timber. She's like, "Oh, you're a good boy, aren't you? What are you doing with these lot? Oh, you're just adorable, aren't you? Aren't you? Come over
Yes.
here. Come over here."
Timber walks over.
And she starts to scratch behind your ears. She's like, "Oh, yes, yes." You see, Lieutenant Horace looks over. He's like,
Lawmaster, about the thefts, right?
I saw Horace here has told me that a lot of you are interested or potentially willing to do some work for the town while you're staying here. Is that true?
Depends on
Well-
what it is.
I'm sure we can make short work of any problems these buffoons have.
Okay.
Horace told me you're a bit of the rude kind of folk, so
You know what's odd is we aren't a lot. Like I don't.
Well, it's
What?
mainly these two. Anyways. Yes,
you guys,
we would
it's
be-
funny. You guys just have bad first impressions. Like you become friends with everyone, but you have bad first impressions.
We would.
Point is, we'll be in town for at least another night. So
Right. And we would love to
Yo.
lend our support.
you got a problem? We'll solve it.
Well, I hope the problems of a small town are not so difficult for, what are they called again, Horace? The heroes of Maginset.
You know that's your word. I don't think that's really ours. And then he gives his biggest like charming Han Solo, not Han Solo, biggest charming like shit-eating grin.
Roguish.
Probably the right. No, just full out like.
and she just like, she continues petting Timber. It's like, do you like these people? Do you like these people? It's just like, that's a hound grimace if I ever saw one. All right, well, if you're capable enough to fight off bandits, as I've been told, and retrieve relics, our issue should not be too much of a problem for you. There have been a lot of rapport. Tom wasn't saying.
Yes, if you don't mind, I would say let's get to the point.
Impatient, I see. Fair enough. I am as well. There has been reports and evidence of, and I know, she looks directly at Scarlet. Please do not scoff at our issues. There are issues. Theft of livestock, from what reports are saying, are little green men. The blood trails lead towards the river, and although we are not able to send the regiment out due to Kinsley's orders, some of our guards have noticed that the blood leads to a cave down by the stream, leading to the main riverway. It may seem small to heroes like you, but theft of livestock and other goods from our town hurts us tremendously. And if the reports of them being some sort of creatures, it's not long before they take more than livestock. Now we've heard of folks following the trails trying to find their sheep and cattle, and at least one has not returned. A few have come back with some wounds. Speaking of these little green men, but at least one has not returned. Now, I would hope that you would find it easy enough, and with such bravado, to take care of this. Go down towards the stream, closer to the river. Find this cavern that is spoken of. See what is taking our goods and livestock, and, if possible, rescue our lost villager. We can offer what we can in reward, hopefully with some support from Lieutenant's coffers as well. I believe what we can offer you is 300 gold pieces.
Excellent. Give us a moment. We'll talk this over and see if we accept the contract.
Very well. You see Lieutenant Horace kind of looks to each of you and just gives you a nod, and just, as I said last night, it would do a lot of good amongst this town.
Understood, Lieutenant. Thank you. Do you mind if we step outside?
Please.
Right, it's not. Yeah, it's not like a big, thing. It's just a tower base, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we step kind of right outside. Just not. We doesn't necessarily need to be out of earshot. Just politely away, so it's clear that we're having our own conversation. Well, what do we think?
It's a waste of time.
Nothing is a waste, Scarlet. It all happens for a reason. I say there's no harm in completing this task. We're here anyways. What else would you propose we spend our time doing?
Timber looks up at Kieran and
And of course, our most endearing companion agrees with me, so...
Of course he does.
What is going on with you two?
No, I think Scarlet kind of has a point. It is kind of, I mean, it's important that we get this, get a reward and let the general know what we've done so far and the dangers that lie ahead. A little bit more important than these trifle local troubles, but I think that Velen kind of forced us into this. We don't have much better to do if we have to wait for him.
To be fair,
guess
we
that's
don't
my
have to
point
wait
as
for
well,
him at
Wizard.
all.
We
could
don't.
just
We
go.
should, though. It's not going to look great if we show up to the general and we're like, "Hey, you left
Agreed.
your friend, just left
Yeah.
her."
Yes, we need to wait for him.
Yeah, I agree with Wiswick, right? Plus, defending the guy. What was his name? You never told me his name.
it's Johan.
Nope, you're a wolf.
Who are you talking about?
The guy, the masked guy.
Johan.
Yeah,
Oh,
Johan. Johan. All right.
Yes, the fallen one.
Gohan.
Goku?
Jorhan.
So we gotta wait, right? Might as well kill time and make money.
And help these good people with their troubles.
Yes. No, I said that first, didn't I?
No, I think you said something about killing time.
I think no, you just misheard.
Can you promise me that as soon as it's done and Valen is back, that we will be on our way?
If that's what the goddess wishes, so it shall be.
Oh my
By the way, I'm not
God.
referring to you as the goddess. I'm referring to Illivan.
No, I got that.
Of
Don't
course.
worry, Scarlet. We'll get this done in lickety split.
I
Cal
I
looks at
don't
Kieran
have the
and he's
energy
like,
for your positivity right
Phew,
now.
that was like a really well played joke. Well done, sir.
Thank you. I think I'm starting to learn.
Look, I say we do it because if we're losing, we can either lose 6 hours and stare at a wall, or spend 6 hours and make 300 gold.
Correct. And who knows what we may find along the way. Alas,
Yeah, let's do it.
friendship.
All right, so I
may
go
be the
back
answer
in.
to all problems. Yes. Go back in.
Hello, friends.
Okay. See, they greet you. You see, the lieutenant has actually started to put together the reward. You see a few sacks of gold there. As Sorsha looks to you, says, you're back so quickly. Took that much
Yes.
deliberation.
We just like to make sure we're on the same page.
So, will you help my town or not?
We're in. We need location details and the details of that person who's missing.
Aye. So,
And she sort of every now and then just kind of keeps looking over at Scarlet and just sort of like,
if you go head down the eastern, yeah, that's Sean, not her. She knows her roads. The eastern road. It will take you quickly to the small quay by the river. You follow the river up, say about a mile, is where we've heard last reports and where our scouts have found the end of the bloody trails. There's a small bridge over a very small stream coming from a cavern. We presume whatever these creatures are may be bringing the livestock to this cavern. But we cannot be certain. If you could investigate the area, and hopefully you will find some evidence of these creatures, whatever they are. And if you could also find, hopefully for us, Bray. She was a young woman who disappeared when she went searching for one of her father's horses.
All right.
Understood.
Do you have any more specifics on these creatures?
My scouts were not able to see them. There was nothing in the river. They did not want to go into the cavern.
Right.
They were
Other villagers
cowardly.
that may have seen?
You may be able to find Bray's father tends to patter around the square in the Godswind Park. Poor fool. But he says that he saw them, and racked with guilt he is. He sent his daughter out to search for the horses, but he says he saw one of them.
Very good.
He is.
Thank you. Oh yeah, physical description of him would be appreciated, so
Yes.
we can quickly just.
Yes, he is. His name is Turan. He is just a grizzled, graying beard and long, held back hair. You will be able to find him. He is the most sullen-looking one in the beautiful park.
Of course.
Excellent. Well, Lieutenant, Lawmaster, if there's nothing else, I should say, we'll go take care of this.
Please do. We will have the gold.
Or we'll be dead. So either way, you win out, Lieutenant.
You're
We
clever
will
one.
return.
I hope to see you again.
I give him a wink and turn around.
Sorsha just sort of puts her hand in her face and starts writing writing the commission, the records for giving this gold to you. He's like, fair enough. We hope to see you soon.
Good luck.
So we're gonna leave, and Kieran's immediately gonna try to locate this Theron. What was his name?
Terran.
Turan.
Karen.
Tehran, like the country.
Turok.
No, not
Tehran.
not the dinosaur.
Tehran, yeah.
I'm
It's
a
pretty
pretty my swords.
Yeah. You could definitely go get your swords. It only costs you about 5 silver.
Okay.
5 silver, not about 5 silver. The rest of you, it's pretty easy to find this man because you see there's like some families you see these parents with the little girls peeking over the edge of this really old looking fountain in the center. There's some sitting around, there's kids climbing the giant oak trees. When you're inside, it's really impressive though, and it's this really lovely experience. The oak trees create this dome above, the leaves kind of bring the light through in this green light, sort of spreading this green light all around with occasional sunbeams coming down as there's this gentle mist that kind of comes from the fountain. There's no water in the fountain other than any collected rainwater and sort of puddles. This fountain is old looking, like weathered, hardcore. It looks like it was here before any of the other structures you've seen here. with just sort of a plaque in the front, a central column where water would come out into it, with a broken statue on the top. It looks a lot like statues in the barrow, just for reference. Or it looks as old as some of the stuff you found in the barrow. If not, it looks older because of how much it's weathered since it's above ground. But you easily enough see on a bench close to the fountain a man matching the description, just sort of standing there, staring at the fountain, holding onto like this cloak in his hands.
As we approach, Kieran's going to turn to Wiswick and Scarlet. Oh. Sorry, my screen just went blank. Turn to them and goes, now remember, this man lost his daughter, and it's because of him that she's gone. So let's try to just take it real easy. We're here to simply get what information we can. Wiswick, I assume you'll probably have the best information to go off of what he tells us in identifying these creatures. And then we just leave. Okay? So let's put on our not happy faces, but our not
Neutral faces. Right?
neutral faces.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I walk. Cal steps forward.
Cal has returned from getting his rapier.
Yeah, I figured that was. I thought it
That was fine. Yeah,
I dashed in and yeah.
it's the same square. You dashed in, dropped some silver as Scriber was like, "Did you want to look at my? I made a fiddle." But you step forward, and he doesn't notice you at first. He's just, oh, hello.
Hello there, sir. I'm Cal. My name is Cal. These are my ardent companions, and we have been commissioned to find your daughter, who I believe is missing. Yes.
You're going to search for Bray?
Yes. Well, the reason we came to you is we need to learn what you know about what happened to her and the things that took her.
There was just a night where it was crack of dawn, really. It was late, and I heard some scuffling in the farmhouse, and I saw this squat creature carrying a few others of them. They were just carrying the dead or unconscious. I don't know. They were stealing our horses. And I don't know. They were. I told her I didn't. I thought they were just teens. I don't know, stealing. I told Braid to look for them. And last thing she said, she found some trail and was going to go by the river. And the last I heard from her, I yelled at her.
It's okay. It's all right. I need you to really think. Can you describe, please, the things that were carrying the horses away?
Well, at first, I guess I didn't believe that they were green, or at least they seemed green. They looked no taller than a young man, maybe a boy of 14. It's the only thing that stood out was how squat they were, and their eyes. I caught their eyes. They're just these lifeless eyes.
Like a doll's eyes.
Like a doll's eyes. These flattened pupils.
135 mango in the water.
Sort of like, I don't know, like a sheep's eyes, but not more like a river creatures. I don't know. There's several of them, I think. Maybe 3 or 4. They had little spears, it looked like. I thought they were just
Teens, yes.
young teens with young fucking teens. No,
and with playing, stealing, I don't know.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you very much. We're going to go and do our utmost to find her.
Please find her. I need to see my daughter again.
Yes.
Need to see my daughter again.
You should pray for our safe return. Pray for us and pray for Bray.
I will pray to the Font Mother.
Do I know anything about the creatures he described?
Give me a nature check.
So as he's thinking, I like wave us away. Like I'm like, all right, let's not have this discussion in front of this guy.
24.
Cal, I'd also like you to give me a nature check.
Oh. I don't know shit about nature.
Wiswick,
However, I can
You're on.
roll. So
you're unfamiliar with what these are.
well, not if you're
Even
over
with that high of
24.
even with that high of a roll, like you just would have never experienced whatever he described. You maybe think of some things that it could be, creatures from the Underdark, but nothing that would be here necessarily. Cal, what'd you get?
It's my third 17 of the night. So
Wow.
plus 1 is 18.
Descriptions of a squat, green-skinned creature with flat pupils reminds you of a floating head in Saoirse's shop.
Wiswick, when we went into that shop, the store over there, did you see the head in the jar on the left when we came in?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that was like that matches the description he gave.
You know, you might be right about that.
Have I heard of Bullywugs before? Now that he rings a bell.
I really could not remember the name of it. I was like,
You have never heard of Bullywugs, and really, honestly, Cal's never heard of Bullywugs either. That was the first thing he's ever seen. It actually is almost like, is it that? That's what he kind of sounds like he's describing. That's
Let's
weird.
go ask the scary bone lady.
Scary Bone Lady, she was awesome.
How many more people do we need to talk to before we just go take care of it?
As much as it takes to find the information so we have an edge about it.
Don't worry, she's very close by, Scarlet. This will take but a minute.
She's literally in the store right there that we're looking at.
Come on, I'll show you. It's pretty cool in there. You're gonna want to see it.
Yeah, I follow Wiswick in.
Yeah, so you go in and you see what I described before, this just real cavalcade of creepy bottles and books and heavy air of incense. As soon as Timber gets in there, he does those dog sneezes. But Paravel hears the bell and steps out and sees you.
Nope.
Sorry. Saoirse Valandir steps out. She sees Wiswick and she says, you're back already and you've brought friends.
Yes, these are my traveling compatriots. We actually had a quick question about some issues that the guards brought up with us. We were wondering if you could assist us.
I'm looking at the head in the jar to make sure it's the try and comparing it to the description.
Yeah, it's definitely
Visually.
matches sort of the idea of if someone because you start to think because when you first saw it, you were just like, this is a giant frog head. But now that you've seen it, you're like kind of thinking like if this was on a humanoid figure, and you're like, yeah, that's kind of. I can imagine why they'd say little green men taking their livestock. Saoirse kind of looks to you and she's just like, absolutely. And she looks across your group and her eyes kind of settle on Curon and Scarlet. And she's like, very interesting group of individuals.
We get
Ma'am, I don't like the way you said that, but I do have a question.
Yes.
The head there in the jar.
Oh yes, this is my Bullywug friend.
Bully, see, that's interesting. So it sounds like to us that have you heard of the livestock going missing?
I have not. I don't get out much.
Everything. Yeah. Okay.
I hate
So-
everything that you choose to be.
Nope. Cal's polite. He's got manners. He was raised correct. Sounds like the visual description of the creatures that are stealing livestock and now a person out on the outskirts of town.
Oh, interesting.
What do you know about them, and how do we kill them?
Oh, they're fairly easy to kill. This one, I just went down to the river and used some illusory magic, and they're not very intelligent. It was easy enough to capture him, sever his head, and reanimate it.
Okay. So
So cool.
thank you so much. Basically, what you're telling me is a quick
Without-
stabbing will do it.
As long as it's just bullywugs. Like I said, they're fairly simple creatures. They're often heavily, especially if they're coordinating, stealing of livestock and individuals. They often, yes, occasionally a bullywug will wander up from the riverside and kill a sheep and take its entrails back to the rivers, but they do not coordinate. They don't steal people. They're too easily fended off unless you wander far from your village. They're doing it for a reason. Usually that's because they're being manipulated or they've found something to worship.
And in your experience, what sorts of things tend to manipulate bullywugs?
You see, she sort of like does a quick motion. You see a book flies off a shelf into her hand. She drops it down and cascades the pages across and sort of. Well, they tend to serve in most dire situations a sort of sorcerer that can convince them that they are in some way going to benefit their collective clans. They often serve marrow. You sort of see scaly lizard-like sea humanoids. The marrow, if they have some sort of business. In some of the southern reaches, they are known to serve the Yanti. But for the most part, in these regions, I'd say perhaps some sort of marrow sorcerer, perhaps, or maybe just a sorcerer. Or, if you're not lucky, it's a froghemoth that has found a wearin here, and they've come to serve it.
There's no way you just said the word froghemoth, right?
I am never mistaken.
Are you describing a behemoth frog?
Yes, I mean,
It's a portmanteau.
it's exactly what it sounds like. And they have these tendrils and truly fascinating creatures.
They're magical nature, correct?
Sometimes, but more often than not, they're just sort of some influence, perhaps from extraplanar magic. It's enhanced their size, but bullywugs are known to worship them if they are ever in a place. But I've heard although I don't get out, I've heard no rumor of froghemoth in the region. I guess perhaps if it couldn't get out of its cave, they might be feeding it the livestock, or if it's... But if they're stealing livestock at the rates they are, they're feeding something, most likely.
You know what? This has been a most enlightening conversation, and I wish you the best in the rest of your day. Everflame, bless you, and then he walks.
Yeah. Tim, once Cal opens the door, Timber like runs out.
She sort of just kind of keeps an eye, like making eye contact between Scarlet and Kieran before you leave. Just like, always a pleasure to see those of Alicia. Those touched by fire.
Outside.
Just like a
You
very
hear Cal
like,
say, "Boy, I like that place even less now."
As you're leaving, Kieran, you would notice sort of the little and a little bout of flame shoot out. This pseudo dragon coughs up flame like a cat coughs up hairballs, essentially. The pseudo dragon. There's a lot of people is like hiding behind like this glass jar of fireflies. So you just see like. But you're able to leave easily enough with your new information.
So we know there's these little green men. We know that they're probably feeding something, and it's probably magical.
indeed.
Is this worth 300 gold to all of you?
No, it would be worth no gold as long as we're helping out these poor folks in need. Did you see that man? Do you remember the hurt that you feel?
Yes,
for your missing
yes,
loved
yes,
ones?
yes.
What do you think he's going through? We have the ability to help that
Kieran,
man.
all right, all right.
Are you sure I could go on preaching
No,
for?
stop.
Very well. Shall we away then?
I'm already away.
Timbers with cow.
I think Wiswick has one last question, if that's okay, for
Yeah.
Saoirse.
Sure.
If we were to remove this threat, perhaps you would be interested in maybe some components that these creatures might have in their possession. I see you. I mean, you've got a head already. Anything else? Like, if we take care of them for you?
If it is a froghemoth, bring me its brain and I'll give you a large sum of gold. If it's something else, bring something smaller, bring the corpse back to me. I'm always looking for new subjects.
Great.
I know I didn't hear that, but I really don't like this one.
Yeah, she's creepy for sure.
Whatever it is, I'm sure you'll hear back from us soon.
Definitely. Well, good luck.
So,
Okay.
you gather outside. Is there anything you'd like to do, or do you want to just start on the journey down towards the river? It's not a very far journey.
Right.
Man,
Yeah,
we
no.
really got to do this job right. I can't. What's called look silly in front of Saoirse. She's so awesome, isn't she, guys?
Don't like the way
Shit.
she's looking at us.
She had finger bones around her neck.
She's just a little old. Old people wear stuff like that. It's hard to see your face, you know. That's why she had that squint on going on.
I didn't know.
Don't look too much into it.
No, I didn't know my grandfather for very long. He did not wear knuckle bones.
This
Mine
conversation happens
Yeah,
as
this
you're
is
all
continuing on the
like
road.
walking out, and you see people every now and then are just like, and then you see someone's like, they're talking about Saoirse. Oh, I don't let my son go in there.
No, you are totally right.
But
Step on, mute yourself when you do that. Jesus Christ.
but you make your way along the eastern way road that leads. The eastern road kind of dips down out of the city or out of the hamlet and turns into a very loose cobblestone, eventually into just rough dirt patch that leads down to a very small quay where there's a few fishing boats. Very, a few small ships. You notice a raft there, a wooden raft, similar to what a lot of you traveled down on in the beginning of the campaign or the pre-campaign. A few fishermen working, but this is not your destination. You can very quickly turns northward on the river, where there's just a sort of somewhat beaten trail. Kind of folks maybe come and move up and down looking for different wild herbs or fishing along the river instead of on boat. And it's sort of the river has a river basin that kind of scoops up a cliffside that's not too tall and sort of just has a bit of an overhang over the muddy beaches of the river. But you notice the rushing river. This is one of the thinner portions of the river that cascades through the entire Trinwald Valley. Is there anything you'd want to do? Do you want to stealthily move up this river, or are you just trying to get there quickly?
I would say get there quickly, but while we're moving.
Yeah, it's about a mile and a half, so you'll get there
Okay.
pretty fast. Maybe probably take you like 20 minutes to get there.
So, question. I know we're not one for plans here. Should we try to be clever, or should we just go in?
I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about our odds here. They're just a bunch of what's called behemoths. I know. I mean, no, not behemoths. Like little guys.
That is exactly the attitude that gets you killed.
True,
So
but
clever, then.
do you want to go first then, Scarlet? You want to do a little reconnaissance for us?
Sure.
Okay. So Scarlet, you're gonna move ahead of the group as you're going towards the stream and the cave.
Yes, she needs something to do.
Yeah. So how far ahead do you want to be?
So maybe like 20 feet.
Okay, so not too far.
Yeah.
I say as you get closer, you probably start to move quicker and get further ahead,
Mhm.
so that you can kind of start stealthing a little and
Yeah.
not have them just like walk up on you when you
Right,
stealth.
right.
Scarlet, give me a stealth check and a perception check.
Okay.
As she's doing that, the farther we get from town, anyone who happens to glance at Cal notices that, like, while he's normally, his face is usually that kind of like half smiling, kind of just like, yeah, we're having a good time. Each step he's taken after that point where he said, "What's the plan here?" Is like more. His face sinks much more serious. Not like scowling, but like blank neutral, and like his walk becomes different. Like he gets much more like balls of his feet, kind of like aggressive walking. Maybe is the term.
Okay.
It's important for later.
Scarlet, what
So-
did you get?
My stealth was an 11. It was a 1 plus 10.
Oh,
And my perception was 16.
16.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're Scarlet. Despite your lecture to Wiswick about having a plan, you are not taking this very seriously. So your stealthing is just very brisk. You're pretty much going through the motions of stealthing, where you're just like crouching a
done this.
little, as you're just like fucking frog people. They're not gonna see you. Very overconfidently. As 7 spears go towards you now. No. It's not the first thing you see is not any of these bullywugs or the stream really. I'd say about 3/4 of the way there. You can see in the distance the bridge that they're talking about. It's a small stone or a small wooden bridge with these stone pillars that it's latched to. And you hear the noise first before you see anything. You just hear the occasional. I'm trying not to just do a Murloc voice, but you just hear like, yeah, just. It's hard to tell if it's just a big toad somewhere nearby in the river mud, or if it's actually the bullywugs. You don't see them yet, but you hear the sound start to get more aggressive as you hear a very light grunting and scream, maybe, of a man. And you stop for a moment at this. And then cressing up over the sort of small hill, you see a man. Yeah, we're still in town. I should change that. As you hear the cry
Cows
in the
and
distance,
shit.
be like, chickens, chickens.
yeah, they have livestock. You said they have livestock, so
Yeah, I guess you're right there.
they have a farm.
But
They're
but
building
they-
a
but they're
farm.
Dead livestock.
An animal.
Who
farm.
knows? Maybe they're making their own farm.
Blood trail.
Yeah,
see-
one of them had an aneurysm.
Okay.
You see running towards you is a man covered in blood,
Oh, fun.
holding a small child in his arms, covered in blood, running. As you see, peeking up from the river, the small stream behind him, you see these little green men. Peeking up. They're these frog-like shapes. They start with all hands on the ground, and then they lift up, and you see they have spears. Some of them have shields. One of them has a real primitive longbow. As they're just sort of like, as they're kind of coming, you see the one pulls the air out, and shoots for the man.
All of us see this, or just Scarlet?
How far
Just
away
Scarlet.
are we?
They're
I-
probably They're probably like 200 feet away from you. You
Oh,
found
damn.
like a small spot to peek ahead behind
Yeah.
some trees, but
Yeah.
it's like you just see the small shapes of these frogmen, and you see the small shape getting bigger of the man running, and then you just see. But you watch the arrow misses. The first arrow misses.
Good.
He's running closer. He's not. He's Rick and Starking it. Second arrow misses. He's getting
Alligator!
closer to you. He's about. At this point, he's getting close to 100 feet away from you.
Okay.
Bullywugs are not good at anything. He gets to 100 feet away from you, and you're just looking.
Oh no.
As he collapses to the ground and drops the child in his arms.
Oh.
And you see the frog start to run towards him.
Okay. I run out towards the child.
Okay.
Would Timber
Are you
have
trying?
heard? I mean, I don't know how far away these people are, but
By this point,
Timber
you
is-
all are.
Okay.
By this point, I'd say, Timber, you hear commotion ahead, but you're not discerning like the screams of a man or the arrows or anything. You just know that there's action happening ahead in some sense, because it's mostly just the sounds of the man, and because it's just they're just shooting arrows at him. The bullywugs are too far away for you to hear the croaking. I mean, Scarlet can barely hear it. So Scarlet, you're rushing towards the child to try to get there before them. Okay, so you're definitely a little bit faster than them. So you're rushing down, and you see it. There's 4 of these bullywugs that are coming towards this child. You get there first. You see the father, presumably, his eyes are blank. He's dead. There's an arrow through his neck, sticking out. This bullywug got a 24, or 22. You see just blood coming out of his mouth. He's got this scraggly beard, farmer's attire. You see there's a little girl on the ground, probably 9 years old, who's unconscious, alive, but unconscious, who the blood on her looks like his blood more so than anything.
And hers.
Yeah. The bullywugs are close in the distance, though. What do you want to do?
I would like to scoop her up, and I would like to start running back towards my friends.
Okay, are you trying to lose the bullywugs?
Actually, I think yes, but as I'm running, I would like to reach back behind me, and I would like to cast Earth Tremor.
I had a feeling you were going to do that. Remind me on Earth Tremor's requirements.
Cause a tremor in the ground within range. Each creature other than you in that area make a dexterity saving throw of 15. And on a failed save, they take 1d6 bludgeoning damage and are knocked prone. And then it becomes difficult terrain.
So what was the save again?
DC Dex 15.
Okay. Just gonna roll 2 for them. All right. So you see, you grab the girl, you pick her up, and you sort of put her up in your arms, and you just sort of look. You look down at the father, unsure of what. You see they're breaking the distance, and you just, as far as you can before they can get to you, you see the ground start to split up. You see 3 out of the 4 kind of they slip and collapse in the stone, just sort of fall to their knees and sort of just these frog noises. But one of them definitely is like climbing over one with a shield and a spear. But it's just one. So if you were to dart away now, you could probably get away from them.
Okay. Yeah, so just in case they come closer, I'm going to have the little grown one hand. I'm going to have my short sword in the other, and I'm just running away.
Okay. It would be shortly after this that so you start running, and you hear the sounds fading in the background of the sounds of these bullywugs as you are just running and not looking back, sword ready. As shortly after that, the rest of you see kind of, you're talking or not talking, you're kind of quietly moving forward. You haven't seen Scarlet in a little bit. She went further ahead than you could see. And then suddenly she kind of like skids down the side of the hill and down into the road and starts rushing towards you. And you can see she has the child in her arms, that has the blood all over them.
Rush forward.
Yep.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I think I slowed them down. I don't know how much time we've got. Her father was with her, but gone.
What was the terrain like?
Well, it's difficult. It's rough now. I cracked it so they couldn't get over it. So it gave us a little bit of time, but I don't think we have enough time where they can climb over it.
All right, lads, let's go.
Takes
Right.
off the glaive.
Okay. What are you
Wiswick?
doing with the? Go ahead, Wiswick.
I just want to run forward, like try and get there as quickly as possible because he's thinking that like he wants to catch them while they're all grouped together.
Okay. So, what are you doing with the little girl?
I look at Timber. Timber, will you stay here with her? Please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you slowly place the girl down. She's probably around 9. You see she's this very long, tangled blonde hair. Very small, very small. Unconscious. She's got her father's dried blood on her face. Timber, you just sort of find a position guarding over her as the rest of you start to rush back towards the Bullywug's position. As you all rush forward, ready to fight, swords out, weapons out, ready to go. You can see just as you're coming around the bend of the road, you see the stream, you see the wooden bridge with the stone, you see the 4 Bullywugs. They gave up on Scarlet. You can see them all. They are still clustered together by the bridge. As you see, they all they're holding their weapons out, kind of aloft. And you see rising up from the water, you see this slithering, scaly blue creature that looks like a snake lower half and a humanoid upper half with a long crocodile-like maw in the front and several spindly spines all over it, as it has this large trident, as it's just looking towards them and just sort of barking commands at them. And then you see it looks past them. They can see you approaching, blades ready. And you just see it just hold the trident out towards you as the Bullywugs turn. And that's what we'll pick up in the next segment.
Dope.
Wow.
Because we do not have time for combat. But yes, so you've found the Bullywug camp or river stream. You can see a creature that is ordering it to engage in these raids. You found this young girl who must have been kidnapped by them when their father was trying to get her back. He's dead now. Not there in time to save him.
Sorry, I think while I was running with the little girl, I would have flashbacks to the night Timber and I met.
100%. Yeah, for sure. And you would have even stopped for a moment and looked at the man dead and thought of Timber for a moment, sort of the idea of a father failing to rescue his daughter. But as you get ready to fight off these creatures, Timber protecting the little girl, to find out what exactly these Bullywugs are doing with the stolen people and livestock. That's where we'll pick up next week. Thank you everyone for joining us. Next week's episode will be back to usual, all live stream. We'll be back here in person. We're looking forward to it. Thank you for sticking around, and we love you. Thanks for joining us in Paradise. Have a good night.
Bye.